perpendicular to that vertical.
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, so we do that in a particular location, and we have established a horizontal at that location, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now if we're very careful and we do that in a particular location where we know the elevation, like let's do this like I first anticipated on a body of water that's not flowing, that's still no waves, and we establish a point that's 1 meter above that body of water.
Okay.
Right, so I can use that tool now to establish both a vertical and a horizontal at that point, can't I?
Yeah.
I can also do that at another point.
Got like
Can I can do that. I can do that.
An angle on a
I can
stick,
do.
like
I
a
can,
right angle on a stick.
No, Bev. It's a pretty simple concept. I can do the same procedure at another location on that body of water some distance away, can't I?
Yeah, like a right angle on a stick, just to visualize it.
Yeah. Now I can now establish a chord between those 2 points that I've defined.
What, in
at
the
those
air?
2 locations. Yeah, sure.
A chord, though.
Yes,
How
I
can you
can.
establish a chord?
The chord is just a straight line joining the 2 points.
That's just a straight line joining 2 points, right?
Well,
no
sure.
need to-
Let's call it a straight line then.
Let's imagine there's a circle around it.
Let's just call it a straight line.
Yeah, I don't
Just
want
call it a straight line between those 2 points, right?
Straight line, that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
We can call it a straight line between those 2 points that we've established. Now, what we can show and what we've measured is that the horizontals at each end of that straight line do not coincide with the direction of that straight line.
Together, wouldn't they? If you were, it was a right angle and you had it vertical and horizontal at each end, that they would both be horizontal, right?
They're both horizontal at each end,
Yeah.
yes. But the key point here, Bev, is that those separate horizontals at each end of that straight line do not go in the same direction as that straight line.
What straight line? The horizontal is a straight line.
The straight line that we established between those 2 points.
The one that was at right angles?
No.
At each end?
No. I did not say it was at right angles, and I didn't even mention that. I said that we can construct a horizontal by making a right angle from the vertical at each end, and you agreed with that. That's a procedure that we can do. It's quite easy.
Yeah.
Right. So we can establish. So what we can do, Bev, is we can establish a horizontal at each point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then by geometrically joining those 2 points, we can also establish another direction, can't we?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
You're telling us. I'd say it's horizontally. That's 2 points.
Come on, Bev. Come on, Bev. Come on, Bev. Be honest. You say you love geometry, and yet here you are questioning and saying you don't know whether joining 2 points with a straight line establishes a direction.
Yeah, horizontal. I mean,
no, Bev. I said it establishes a direction. It establishes a direction.
Yeah, but like all I'm saying is, at 90 degrees to vertical is horizontal. Now,
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that, Bev.
Points would be a horizontal distance.
That's not correct. That is not correct, Bev, because we can establish a horizontal at each end, which is what surveyors do. And we can then establish a direction by joining those 2 points, all right? And what we find is that the horizontal at each end does not coincide, is not collinear with that line between the 2 points.
Well, a straight line isn't collinear with a straight line.
Exactly. What does that mean, Bev? Come on, you're a geometry person. If 3 points aren't collinear, what does that mean?
3 coplanar. You're not saying that...
No, I didn't use the word coplanar. I said if 3 points aren't collinear, what does that mean?
3 points are coplanar.
No, again, Bev, you seem to have trouble hearing what I'm saying. So shut up and listen. If 3 points are not collinear, what does that mean?
means they're obviously coplanar.
How much geometry do you know?
Just the basics.
Well, obviously nothing beyond the basics, because if 3 points are not collinear, it means that you cannot draw a straight line between all 3 of those points.
It's a triangle, coplanar. Yeah, that's what I said.
Right. What it means is that the horizontal at each end is not collinear with the line joining the 2 points.
I don't know. Would the vertical be at right angles to the horizontal at all 3 points?
We've only established 2 points, one at each end.
Yeah, but you've got horizontals intersecting somewhere along the line that you don't seem to know. I think you've got a model of horizontals intersecting at a midpoint somewhere. But I mean,
right.
you can't be saying that, surely.
Absolutely. Now you're starting to understand it, aren't you, Bev? Because what we find, I'll finish my sentence whether you like it or not. Right. Yeah. What we find is that when we establish those 2 horizontals at each end by taking a vertical and establishing the horizontal by measuring 90 degrees from that vertical, what we find is that those 2 horizontals intersect at a point between those 2 points. That is not at the same elevation as the 2 points.
That's only if you've been affected by a model. If you just live in reality,
no, that's what happens. That's what happens in reality with real measurements, Bev.
Well, have you done that in reality?
Sure.
Yeah, nice.
Did you find the drop, Paul?
Or
you know there are other people that have done this too. You do know that, don't you, Bev?
Which one did you measure?
But Paul, did you find the drop?
If you had followed, he just described the drop the other way around.
Merle's trying to white knight. Continue on with Bev.
No. This is an open. You know that Jesse. You can rumpus all you like, Paul.
You know.
Question.
Yeah, I'm not rumpusing at all. I'm being quite polite, actually, Mel.
Did you find the drop with your method? Yes or no?
You can do that. Yes.
You can do that, but did you find this drop or not?
What do you mean by find it? You can observe it.
So if you put a horizontal line on a sphere, something becomes apparent.
Think about what he said for a minute, Merle. If 2 horizontals from the same elevation intersect above that elevation, then looking along one, the origin of the other will appear lower.
Yeah, we've been given the numbers in the chat box there.
So he just described drop from the other way around, kind of.
That's you guys. You've been doing calculations. Look, you draw models and all sorts. There's the numbers to measure. That's what you measured, right?
No, these were observations, once again.
Who was it that measured? Ozzy.
You can also you'd be familiar, wouldn't you, Bev, with Bev? You'd be familiar with Jesse Kozlowski's way of doing this too. You know that he's actually done this observation, and he's got a YouTube video that shows it, and he shows how he establishes the elevations. He shows he shows you how he establishes the horizontals, and he shows you that those horizontals don't coincide.
Wow. So you think Jesse said that the horizontal set, yeah? I don't think he actually said that. I think he said that he didn't say that, actually.
You might want to go back and look at the video again, Bev.
You might want to get another source besides a YouTube surveyor. Really? What do you think that guy was trying to prove to you? And what did he actually say to you? He was talking about tilt, right? And you're thinking he said curve.
What's wrong with his method?
What's wrong with his method? He's not measuring anything.
Well, he actually is measuring something.
Really? What do you think he's measuring?
He's actually observing something.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and what he observes shows that it's not flat.
Yeah, what do you know about surveying? Anything at all?
Does it really matter what I know about
Yeah,
surveying?
because you're looking at it.
Does it?
You're looking
No,
at
so
what
you're
the guy's doing.
So this is called an ad hom because you're attacking me rather than addressing
No,
the
you're
actual
looking at what the
observation
guy's
that
doing, and you think you're an instant expert because you watched a YouTube video. Now you're here telling us what you think reality is, but you're clueless, right?
So are you a surveyor?
Shut up. He's got nothing.
So are you a surveyor?
No, but I've studied it.
Oh, so you're sitting here telling
geometry.
us. So you're sitting here. So you're sitting here telling. So you're sitting here telling us that we're wrong when you also have no expertise in it. Well done.
What books did you use to study CLEARY? What books did you use? Can you reference?
I borrowed Rumpus's book. Yeah, I borrowed Rumpus's.
No, I'm asking if you can guide me towards a good reference book, as I want to avoid YouTube.
Yeah, I don't use a book. I'm an expert in many things, but I don't use a book for those things, right? I'm not a little student in school.
So how did you study this? What was your method of study?
I understand the instruments. I've been consulted by experts on their practices.
I mean how have you studied it? So you listened to something.
I just answered your question and you didn't like my answer.
No,
did you attend a lecture or something? Because you've excluded videos and books.
Oh yeah.
No, there's a simpler way to explain this. Planar geometry will reveal something whether anybody likes it or not. If there's earth curve, a drop, it will become apparent. It can't be visibly observed. It can't be visibly. No one's presupposing that the earth is a plane. That it's presupposed that it's a sphere or an oblate spheroid. That's where the investigation is.
Right.
Away from hang on, I'm nearly there. Away from confirmation bias, it's an objective inquiry that no one has a predetermined result in mind. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, call Jesse Kozlowski in here to defend what he did,
with
right?
Planar geometry is how you establish that.
A plane. But if the Earth isn't a plane, how can you apply that geometry to
rather than Jesse Kozlowski coming in here and defending what he did, surely it should be up to you to actually tell us and inform us as to what he did wrong.
You're the uninformed dummy here representing what he did, and he can't come and back it up. He won't come.
I'm not here to defend it. I'm here to ask you and have you tell me what's wrong with his method. What did he do wrong?
Geometry.
Yeah, exactly.
What? So if he uses geometry, he's wrong. That's pretty stupid.
Yeah, three coplanar points, right? That he wants to curve it into a ball. It's a freaking joke.
You can take 3 points from.
So what did he do wrong? What did Jesse do wrong?
How many days do you have for me to explain all the shit that he did wrong?
The rest of my life.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Would it really take you days to explain all of the things?
Oh yeah, yes.
It takes years for you guys to understand.
So it would take longer than 48 hours talking continuously for you to explain all of the things.
Are you challenging me to a 48-hour marathon?
No, I'm saying don't be such a twat. That is weak and feeble. If you can't explain what you think you did wrong, then I think you don't have an argument.
What, when he's misusing the equipment, looking across the lake?
No, what he did wrong.
In what way did he misuse
wrong was saying it is measurable and there is a drop from horizontal. That was Jesse's mistake. That's why Jesse's gone. Let's face it, that's geometry.
So anybody who doesn't say that the Earth is level, well, they've got it wrong, according to you guys. For that
Thanks
reason.
for another soundbite right there. That was a good one.
What? All you have is sound bites. It's kind of boring and useless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
wonder
like that,
why.
huh?
I wonder why sound bites are part of your search for truth, Cleary.
Oh, it's
Because
just
he
funny.
knows he's lying,
Is
and
it
he knows
because
he's wrong.
you're not really in a search for truth, and you're just playing some
Oh
silly game on
no,
the internet?
no,
Are you
it's just a funny soundbite. You don't have a
just
sense of humor
laughing?
today, do you? Drink some coffee, drink some tea, wake up, get your sense of humor back. But yeah, what did Jesse Kozlowski do wrong? Well, the first thing he did wrong is come on the internet and start pretending like he measured curve, talking about tilt that Belu taught him about, right? Making a fool out of himself. And now
We're not asking you. We're not asking you to attack his character. We're not asking you to attack his character. We're asking you to tell.
I don't even know the man. I just know what he did on the internet.
Last night about Belu, though, weren't you? Not knowing that Belu inspired Jesse to find.
We're asking what was wrong with Jesse's method.
Tilt. Do you guys not understand about tilt?
Be more specific.
Again, what we understand is irrelevant.
You hear curve.
We're talking about
tilt.
what you guys understand.
Curvature.
I wonder why you're trying to make it about what we understand again.
You imagined he used the right
Have you
word.
got anything other than just blabber, Cleary, or was that it?
I've watched all of Jesse's videos. Have you watched them? Have you analyzed?
Yes, quite a lot of them. Not all of them, but quite a lot of them. So
yeah, well, the surveying practices that professionals use is nowhere near what he does, right? He gets out there looking long range.
What evidence do you have of that?
I would say that he abuses surveying instruments.
So what evidence do you have that that's true, that you've just said? That he's doing a different type of surveying to the professionals?
Because he's not measuring anything. I mean, which one are you talking about? You talking about when he's going across the bridge, just taking data points from
you're saying
the GPS
that his technique. You're saying that his technique is incorrect. I'm asking you, in what way is his technique incorrect?
Like I said, do you have 48 hours?
No, I don't have 48 hours, and I don't believe that you need 48 hours to explain it. I think that that's a crappy excuse because you can't explain it. So,
okay, well,
let's not bother with the 48-hour thing. Just tell me one thing that you think he's done incorrectly in his technique.
Yeah, when he was looking across the lake, right, he's using surveying instruments to look out of range, out of the instrument's functional range, okay? That's one thing. And you're going to get perspective drop. So you take and look across a body of water, and you see that your target looks lower, right? Because it's out of range due to perspective drop. Any surveyor will tell you, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Perspective drop?
Yeah, what the hell is perspective drop? Is it? Will a surveyor
oh my
tell me about?
Are we going back to the
Will a surveyor tell me about
3 years ago?
perspective drop? Will a surveyor tell me about that? A professional surveyor. He will be taking account of. He'll be taking account of perspective drop.
Yeah, you ever heard Nathan Oakley say it?
A certain distance. Yes, they will.
You ever heard Nathan Oakley talk about they hijacked?
Yes, I made a video on it. Yes, Cleary, I made a video on it about
that's what it is.
It is.
Perspective drop is an optical
it's
effect.
Complete and utter bollocks.
Yeah, because
how is
that's
that
what you
complete?
believe.
How is it complete?
It can be demonstrated to be true.
How is it complete and utter bollocks?
Go and watch my video on the subject. It's called
Can you just?
Are you an expert?
Could you give us a little summary?
Well, he's claiming that if you're looking at, say, a building that is, I don't know, 3 miles away.
Between your fingers, right?
Oh, let's say 10 miles. Why are you talking, Cleary?
Because you watched that old.
Did you think that would aid? Did you think it would aid my explanation if you talked in the middle of it?
Yeah, things look smaller in the distance, right?
That's what he says, and he says that because things look smaller in the distance, that changes how much of them we can see in relation to an obstructive horizon.
I agree with you. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's bollocks.
Oh wait, you're contradicting yourself.
From there, clearly,
no, look, I'm telling you. Look, hold on, fucking idiot. Because dickhead Cleary wants to play a stupid word game, doesn't he? So, I was saying what Nathan Oakley said. That is the thing that we were discussing, that you brought into the conversation. You told me I should listen to Nathan Oakley. So that is what we were talking about. I wasn't making those claims. And you know that very well. So I wonder why you tried to play that silly little game there where, why did you do that, Cleary? Why is this dishonest approach necessary? It should tell you something.
Anyway, Bev was trying to speak.
Yeah, well, I had to mute him.
But Cleary, like...
Are you going to answer? Why did you do that, Cleary?
Why did I do what? Oh, tell you
Why
about
did you pretend? Why did you pretend that you suddenly it was me making those claims and we weren't talking about Nathan Oakley anymore? When our entire conversation up to that point had been about Nathan Oakley.
What you were saying.
Why are you talking while I'm talking?
Nathan Oakley. Because you asked me a question, so I was answering it.
Well, I hadn't finished asking it, had I?
Oh, yeah, well, anyway.
Well, I hadn't heard your answer, so can you answer again? Why did you do that?
Oh, because I think it's funny that you were Nathan Oakley parroting and everyone could hear you do it. That was cool. Talking about perspective. Something that you apparently understand.
Listen.
So, hold on a minute. Let's just get this clear. So we were having a conversation about Nathan Oakley's claim. And because during the conversation about Nathan Oakley's claim, I said Nathan Oakley's claim, you took that to mean it's funny because I'm saying Nathan Oakley's claim.
Yeah, for a moment there, I was like,
that's hilarious, Cleary. Obviously, I can see how funny it would be that you would introduce something into the conversation and then people would talk about that thing. I can see how hilarious that must be. Great trick, Cleary. Really, really well pulled off there. Good job.
So, let's get to the primary point here. You do understand perspective,
Yeah, the primary point is you're playing games. Why?
No.
I've just outlined one and you've admitted to it. So why? Why are you doing that?
So if you're standing in front of the Eiffel Tower right next to it, it's pretty big, right?
No,
why?
There's a question on the table, Cleary.
I'm trying to answer you, but you want to lay that verbiage down on top of it.
There's a question on the table already, Cleary. Why are you asking me something?
Well, I answer your questions over and over. I'll answer them 25 different ways if you want.
I fail to see how you introducing something to the conversation and then it being talked about is funny. Where's the funny in that?
Oh, okay. Well, I introduced the Nathan Oakley perspective, right? Yeah, and you quoted it, and now here we are. We both understand it. We're on the same page, man. This is great. We're really moving forward in the conversation.
Well, you're not, because you lied again. I clarified what my position was, and you've just tried to pull the same stunts again. So
do you think that
you're out of the conversation for at least the next hour? Fuck you.
He can spend the next hour trying to find a citation from a professional surveying book about perspective drop.
Well, I've just thrown up about 15 different videos on surveying methodology, all talking about the difference between planar and geodesic surveying and what
that's great. That's great, Joss. One problem here. Just one. Bev, I'll promise I'll shut up after this. One problem here is we have textbook explanations.
Yeah.
Hang on. We've got textbook explanations, and where the waters get muddied is when people like Nathan Oakley come up with some, word game term that isn't rooted in anything, and it makes Flat Earth look fucking stupid. He's really good at that. Thanks, Nathan.
I agree. I agree with you.
Flat Earth is fucking stupid, Mel.
There's a big difference between certain characters LARPing that they know what they're talking about and those who do.
Actually,
he muddies the waters all the time.
Fair enough, Merle. Nathan is dishonest and plays word games. Could you point me to a flat earther who doesn't do that?
Right.
Gav?
Who?
Gav, Vortex Puppy.
I'm not really familiar with that person.
Dels, mate, the one that claims that because we've got spherical eyeballs, we can't figure out what's straight and what's curved.
No, that's not the claim. That's a misrepresentation, Jem. That's not fair. Has Gav ever...
Absolutely what they say.
No,
That's
it
what
isn't.
Del reverts to whenever you point out a curve.
It isn't. It
He
isn't.
says,
That's
"Oh,
your
you've got curved
misunderstanding.
eyeballs."
No, it's your misunderstanding of it.
That's
Go
one
on,
of
then,
Lemon's
go on,
tactics too, isn't it?
Clarify what Gab's killer argument is.
So if you have train tracks converging in the distance, why is that?
Is it spherical eyeballs?
Optical.
That's not an argument, Merle. That's a silly question.
It's going to be spherical eyeballs, guys. It's coming
Well,
after.
I mean, are they really converging in the distance?
Merle, we just talked about this.
Oh, what could it be that's making that happen?
Could it be our eyes?
What?
Merle, you understood it.
Wow.
What's that?
You are stupid, aren't you?
Merle, you just agreed with me the other day about the geometry of this.
Yeah,
I'll
show
why
you
it's doing
how
this,
head
Merle.
work, Mel. You'll be blown away, man. Blown away.
So I can use a pinhole camera, Merle, that doesn't have a lens at all, and I can take a picture and I can show that same convergence.
So what's causing?
So there's
that
no lens
convergence?
involved. Yeah, so there's no lens involved at all. There's no shape involved at all. It's just a pinhole camera, and we can do that.
What's causing the convergence?
Perspective, angular resolution,
Which is
the appearance that things get smaller as they get further away due to angular resolution, and because of that, you tend to get things like
You mean
parallel
angular
lines looking like they're
size,
getting
not
closer.
angular resolution.
Angular size. Sorry, angular size.
Yeah, perspective compression. You call it.
That's not.
doesn't have anything to do with
It's not
our
it.
eyes, though, right?
That's
No,
correct.
because I eliminated that by using a pinhole camera.
Which you use your eyes to look through.
No, you don't. You just take a picture. There's no.
Don't you?
viewfinder
So
on
if
the
you didn't
pinhole
have eyes, how would you know what would the pinhole camera show if you didn't have eyes?
But if you didn't have eyes, you couldn't see anything, could you? So
There you go.
That.
There you go. So you got to account for it. Somewhere along.
That is really
Wait,
bad, Merle.
I will shut up after this, I promise.
I'll
Vortex
take that
Puppy is
picture and I can print
onto
it out in
something.
Braille,
He
and
is.
I can make it textured, and you'd observe the same thing through touch.
All right. Well, if you
So
say
could
so.
I? Yeah. Well, could I?
Just speaks.
I can make that surface textured, and I could represent those parallel lines from the picture directly. So there's no change in it. And now I'm using a nice textured surface, and I can feel those lines getting closer together. So it's nothing to do with my eyes.
You need to do some more homework, son. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Run away, Merle. Go on. Off with you. Off with
There's
you.
no one running away.
Off with you.
I'm
Off with
well
you.
rooted in this
Yeah.
subject. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, you are well rooted, all right.
Stand on
Can
truth.
I ask a question?
The IQ of a plant.
That was a really funny statement, especially for an Aussie, because it means you just said you're well fucked. But
Yeah.
No, I stand on truth.
And don't be
Stand on
rude to
truth.
plants,
I trust
Brenda.
my senses. Trust my
That's,
senses.
that's true.
Can I ask
The
a question from
plants are more useful than Merle.
why did
Trust my senses. I have common sense. A rational mind. Doesn't matter what any.
Why wouldn't you trust your sense of touch? If
Fuck
that's
you
showing
all.
the same
Suck
thing?
my dick.
No.
Can I ask a question?
Why wouldn't you trust your sense of touch when it's confirming what your eyes are seeing?
It's another subject. We were just talking about why railway lines converge in the distance.
Is it spherical eyeballs, Mel? I think it
Well,
is.
you like
Merle.
geometry, don't you? And you know,
Merle,
Who's
if I
saying
take
Merle?
a-
you heard the
Me,
I'll
I
shut
have
up
a
after
question.
this, Bev. I promise.
No,
What-
no,
go on,
I want
man.
to talk to you. This is pretty relevant, right? You know, have you heard of the bridge of asses in geometry? It's like proposition 5, fifth exercise. Right? You either get it or you don't, and if you don't pass that bit, right? Well, it's isosceles triangle and equal bits, right? Look in the debate chat box there. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Principle of triangles.
Mm-hmm.
Basic Euclidean geometry. You know what the Stadia method is?
Can't say I do, Bev.
It's
Hang
within
on.
Scope.
What's that? Hang on.
You guys will really get it. They're
Hang
gonna
on.
rip out in a minute.
Quick question. Why are you claiming that they're all isosceles? Why have you changed values?
Change values on what?
So you don't even know how to read your own bullshit.
No, it's just the principle of stadia method thing that you've just put there, right? You see,
And
this
what
is why I always
what the hell does that have to do with curvature?
Understand what's going to happen right now, right? And
Shows
exactly
that perspective
why
has
you
nothing to do with.
asses. Because you
It's
either
got
get
nothing to do with any of the conversation, mate. It's bullshit.
Well, this the stadia method, principle of measuring distance.
Where's the perspective drop in that?
Where does it say it in this thing that you're showing here? It says nothing about distance.
Or that things will drop
I
with
know,
the
like, you
distance
know,
due to perspective.
Not for everyone. Don't worry about it.
No, where in your principle of stadia method does it say this is a measure of distance?
It is the function of the geometry. Can you not see that?
No. Where in that thing? If you presented that to someone and said this is how you measure distance due to perspective, it doesn't say any of that in what you've got written there.
But like I've just explained to Mel,
Davros.
some people can't get it. They'll never get it.
Yeah, I'm afraid, Davros, you just don't get this.
At all.
Where does it say distance?
Good on you,
But
Paul.
but Bev, this has absolutely nothing to do with perspective drop.
I had a question for Merle, but then Bev kind of stepped in.
I say, okay.
Go on, Mole Man, and then I'll shut up too. I don't want to hold up the.
You keep making that promise, Mel, but you don't keep it.
Well, I promise this time.
Well, you don't keep that promise, so why would
let
we?
Mole Man get his question. He's been really patient, guys. Come on.
Yeah, so if I take a picture of like parallel train tracks with a pinhole camera, and I measure the distance in the picture between the lines at the bottom and at the top, and I get a different difference in the reading, is it because of the I don't know, my eyeballs somehow affecting the measuring tape?
Well, I can ask you the same question with power lines.
Yeah.
Are they really getting smaller, or is it just the
so-
laws of perspective?
Instead of asking a question,
laws
could
of-
you?
But yeah, I can answer. It's the laws of perspective, and it has nothing to do with our eyeballs.
It has everything to do with our eyeballs. That's the point.
Oh, because I can take a picture of the power lines, and they still appear to get smaller, even though I don't use my eyeballs to take the picture. I can
But they're
measure
not
it with
really-
a physical measuring tape.
They're not really
So it has
getting
nothing-
smaller, though, are they?
Well, they appear to be because they are further away.
They appear to be, exactly. That's all I'm going to
Yeah.
say. I'll shut up now.
Yeah,
So it has nothing to do with the eyeballs, just optics. Any optic.
Yeah. That was a brilliant point there, Merle. Brilliant point.
And you being facetious.
I'm being facetious.
Oh, well, I thought you were being quite good. I mean, there is definitely a relationship between the distance and the
See,
size.
Brenda, you just exposed them.
Well, I didn't.
They
I was
thought you were
listening.
being
Would you say-
complimentary.
Would you say that the picture that you posted of the Stadia thing, that it has nothing to do with the bottom-up obstruction? Things don't obstruct from bottom-up due to perspective.
For when you're viewing objects, is that's what I was just a sporting Mel.
Ah, okay, yeah, good. Never mind then.
I mean, some weird stuff happens when you look at the horizon with a camera or anything like that, right? Some real funky stuff.
Oh God, it's here. You're breaking up, Chemo.
Yeah, you should leave and come back in about 5 hours.
Or 5 days.
5 years.
When they actually come with some real evidence would be the best.
There we go. There
That'd
we
be
go.
never. That would be never, Dad.
No, I was simply saying
know,
that.
but hang on.
But
I'm
yeah,
talking
I
to someone
agree
else.
with that. I agree with that. Yeah, let's make it that when they come back, when they've got some actual evidence, which would be never.
No, because you were asking Bev
and
about
this is the thing.
you were,
Chemo,
you were asking Bev about the
what are you
obstruction.
doing?
You're asking Bev about the obstruction.
What are you doing?
You're asking Bev about the obstruction. And again,
No.
how to explain obstruction? Things
No, they didn't mention obstruction.
Yeah, we didn't. No, we weren't talking about obstruction, Chemo.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about. Things disappear.
No, we weren't talking about
You
it.
weren't, Chemo. Pay attention to the conversation, mate.
Yes, that's what.
Chemo's here. Chemo, you dipped. We had a discussion yesterday about falsifiability, and then you just seemed to disappear.
We can get to that. Carry on, Bev. Sorry, I thought you were. I
You're
thought.
just gonna make Chemo disappear again.
Chemo's dipping
Mole
out
Man.
already.
Mole Man.
His egg. He's like, no, fuck that. I'm out.
Just dipped, bro.
Carry on,
We were
Bev.
having
Sorry.
a fruitful discussion about the scientific method and falsifiability.
We can get into that as straight after this with Bev. And I thought Moreman was saying obstruction.
So I was fully erect.
So, Chemo, what do you think of George Lakatos's critique of Popper?
Of what? Sorry.
Lakatos and his critique of Popper.
I'm not sure if he
right.
gave the full analysis correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Not sure I agree.
What do you think? What don't you agree with him on?
Well, he said various things. To me, it would need a lot more clarity, right?
For you to actually have read anything he said.
Anyway, so let's proceed. As we proceed to give you what
So
you need.
Lakatos, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but he's famous for critiquing Popper's falsifiability criterion.
You mean modus tollens?
No, you're out of your depth here, Bev.
No, that's what modus tollens is.
No, it isn't. You're way out of your depth.
Negating the consequent. Surely.
No.
Yeah. There's no older form of argument. Falsifiability, modus tollens. Don't be mistaken that dude doing it for science. He just applied that to science.
Why would you kind of confuse yourself with that? In like, the point was what George Lakatos was saying. So I read what George Lakatos was saying.
Yeah, falsifiability. Yeah, but you can't sort of.
Yeah, but
about the
have you read him?
The oldest form of argument goes back to antiquity. There was no.
Yeah, but no one is talking about the oldest form of argument. You're just assuming that everyone talking about these things nowadays has to be using the oldest form. It's idiotic. We all see right through you, Bev and Kimo. You don't know what the hell
Well, can we get
you're
back to
talking
what
about or
Bev
what
was saying
Brenda's
then?
talking about.
Let's proceed to give you what you need. I think you want to understand perspective. A bit confusing for Globers. Obviously things get smaller, but when it comes to the horizon, when things go beyond that, you're not dealing with a physical obstruction. I don't know if that's what you were saying, man. I'm sure I heard him say. But before that, can we get Cleary back? Has he been a bad boy? Cleary,
Yeah,
give the Globers, because it's kind of like therapy for them to get out their side of events. They want to be able to get their story straight, and it's flat. Yeah.
How do you think they've done this morning with their the geometry? I don't think they're up to speed on the geometry. I really don't.
Oh, wait up, Kimo, did you say that the Earth is flat?
The thing is, though, Bev, as I keep pointing out to you, the shape of the Earth is not dependent upon the knowledge of anyone in this room. It just isn't.
And
nobody.
Didn't you also say, damn, Bev,
So
didn't you
why
say
does
that
it?
you
Why
want
is
to
it
know
there
the
any
basics of
consequence if people do or do not understand geometry? How does that help you in any way?
And you admitted an hour or so ago, Bev, that you only know the basics of geometry. And when Paul was speaking to you earlier, you got confused and lost when he was trying to make a point that even I could understand. And I'm hopeless at geometry and math.
Oh, really? Okay.
Kimo, did you say that the Earth is flat?
It's a revolution.
Kimo, did you say that is the Earth flat?
It's a rev. Are you singing a song or no singing?
No, it's the Earth flat.
Singing. He's singing a song. The Earth
Kimo.
is flat. So look, yes, the Earth is stationary. It's not flat like a mirror or a window. Don't mean like that. What it means.
Sense of the word flat, the literal sense of the word flat.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to point this out when Bev is in the room.
No, because my man's being silly. He's saying
the term flat Earth means something different to Bev than it does to everyone else in the world.
Yeah, I use the words properly, right?
And it has to be pointed out to him every single time it's used.
Yeah.
But I just
But
mean
that's not just
from
a
a
silly
literal,
word
like,
tactic at all.
geometrical stance. I can't take the position that it's something it isn't. It's all right. I understand other people call it whatever.
You don't have to. You don't have to. You just use the word with the meaning that everyone else uses it to mean.
What's the lowest? Hold on. What's the
Simple
lowest?
as that.
What's the lowest elevation we know on the land? Is it like underwater or something? Right, but not in water. What's the lowest land? Is that the Death Valley?
The Dead Sea.
Death Valley.
I thought it was the Red Sea. Or
Okay.
the Dead Sea.
Well, anyway, either
Maybe
way,
somewhere
so
around
either
there.
way, so there's no land lower than that. So that's what we mean about elevate. So you got the land higher, lower. With water, this doesn't happen. It stays at the same level.
Actually, that's not true. Unfortunately, Kimo, that's not 100% true.
That's 100%.
When you measure things actually accurately, for instance, the elevation of the water, sea level is a mean, because the sea level actually changes in elevation depending where it is on Earth.
I don't mean because of the land.
You know,
Look, they're the calculated numbers. You agree with them, right, Brenda?
Do you understand what I said?
Yeah, but what
sea level?
I don't mean
sea
like,
level is a mean.
Puppies, give us a couple of them.
No, hold on a second. Let me try and clear this. So, Brenda, you're saying there's water higher. I don't mean because of the land. Like you've got like a fountain and you've got like water up there and water down here. I don't mean like that. Once all the water is
yeah.
How can it then? How can it raise up? How does that happen?
Well, in one case, for instance, Antarctica, the gravity caused by the continent of Antarctica actually pulls the sea higher and closer to it.
You don't understand hydrostatic equilibrium. Equal atmospheric pressure causes a horizontal surface. Okay, you're talking about something that you don't even understand.
I'm talking about the fact that Antarctica is so massive, the ice in the continent, that the sea level is higher, closer to Antarctica, because of the gravitational attraction of the entire continent.
Yeah, your cause and effect is flawed, right? It's just a belief system.
By the way, Jem,
cause and effect?
Did you read out these super chats? Read them already.
And also winds and currents can also pile up water in certain regions to make it higher.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of wind down there, right? It's very, very windy.
Well, yeah, actually, in that area it is. Yeah.
So, Brenda, you have to concede because you know water is not at a higher level like the land, right?
The entire continent. We're up to date with the super chat.
Oh, you're up to date. Okay, I just didn't see that.
Yeah.
So, Brenda, unless you can show water level at a different elevation, not because of the land, just the water. Then you'll have your ball because you will have the water.
I don't know what you mean. I don't understand.
So, for example,
I was just telling you that sea level is a mean, and that the actual elevation of the water, right above the geoid or whatever they call that again, it changes in locations on Earth.
The sea level is the reference, Brenda. That's
No, it actually isn't. It
Yes,
isn't. No, the geodesic is the reference.
Look, Brenda, it's very simple.
We use sea level.
The everyone mate, it's very simple, Brenda. Okay, so when you look at the horizon, beyond that horizon, you're saying the water is at a lower elevation, lower than the water we see now. Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
The water beyond the horizon, is it higher, the same level, or lower? Exactly, Brenda.
I don't know what you.
Welcome to Flat Earth. It's as simple as that.
I don't know what you mean.
Right, again, you look at the horizon. the water that's beyond the horizon, is it lower, higher, or at the same elevation?
Well, within certain degrees of error, it's at the same elevation.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
You never exactly. Welcome to flat Earth.
Within
Based on
No,
degrees-
that's not true. Elevation simply
Horizontal.
means distance from the mean, the geo.
What error are you imagining there
Oh, all
is?
measurements introduce error, don't they?
A water level doesn't know.
No, sure it does. You have to measure it.
You have to
Yeah,
measure
you
the
do.
water level. No. You use the water level as
Yeah, but-
your frame of reference.
All measurements have degrees of tolerance in the instrument, right?
A water level, it doesn't need calibrating or anything.
And it was shown less than an hour ago how a water level can be affected by pressure changes and how it can't be accurate. To a
Why
certain-
we make this more difficult?
Static equilibrium. Yeah. Cleary's point, but I mean,
Brenda, again, very simple. You look at the horizon, ships going down. You said you tell us every day the ships go beyond the horizon. Sun goes beyond the horizon. That's going lower. That's at a lower elevation. But does the water?
Not.
What?
No, it's not.
The boat's not
No.
at the lower elevation. It's at the same level.
That's correct. It's not going at a different elevation.
Not going
Within degrees of error, the ship on the horizon is at the same level as the water lapping at your feet.
Yeah, so when I look at the boat, is it going down below my eye level, below the horizon, or is it at the same as my eye level?
You mean, it's perspective, right?
So it's not.
You're talking about
sound
you're
like a
changing.
universal horizontal water.
We're using two different concepts of level changeably.
Yeah, he is.
No, because we have a straight horizontal to the horizon.
So chemo
he's
on
using
the
level the same all the time. As do I, as does Cleary.
no, you don't. You don't
don't
understand.
change.
It's like talking to a 5-year-old with you, Bev. So let the adults talk. So chemo, when the water at my feet and the water at the horizon are at the same level.
Yep.
And it's curved.
Okay, fine, but then at the horizon, the water that's going, what's happened to that water? Is it at the same level?
I just said it is.
Beyond the horizon?
Yeah, it's all at the same level.
Is it at the same altitude, same elevation?
Yes, that's what I mean.
So the air curves and it makes the water curve? Is that what you're saying? You must be like a dome or
Level means curved, right?
No.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
That's how it's used.
You've heard people say that in Discord chats. And
I've seen the documents
Never
that go
heard
back
anybody
to.
say that
I've seen
in
the
the
documents that go back to the 19th
All right,
century.
all right, Brenda. So let me ask you: you take a football, the spirit level, put the spirit level on the vertical. Is that level?
No, that's ridiculous, chemo.
Hold on, Davos. Let me ask it again. You get the ball.
You mean an American football? They're pointy at the ends.
Yeah, American football. Any ball, any circular object, but you're going on the
the
vertical.
American football isn't circular.
Well,
it's
yeah,
pointy.
It's like a whatever.
You mean a soccer ball, don't you? Not a football.
Well, it could
Real football is played with the pointy one.
Could be a rugby ball, because we know what a soccer.
Trying.
We know,
I'm trying to.
We use those balls, Brenda, in rugby. Same ball that you use.
Chemo's balls.
So anyway, Brenda, if we put the spirit level on the vertical, will we be level?
On a soccer ball or a basketball, as being an analog for the Earth, the level conforms to the curvature of the ball.
It's perpendicular to vertical, though, right? Isn't it?
I didn't hear what you said.
Perpendicular to vertical, isn't it? Level.
Oh, jeez, you just want to say words, Bev.
Yeah, it's like, well, perpendicular to what?
Yeah, to vertical.
What vertical? What vertical? Which you have to establish the vertical first.
Yeah, the plumb bob establishes the vertical.
But we didn't do
level
that.
Perpendicular to that.
But we didn't do that.
Say, Bev, is horizontal perpendicular to vertical.
No, level.
Use those words
No,
interchangeably.
level. Talking about level.
Right.
But that's
Where-
not what we're
Varies
doing
level
here.
in relation
Yes,
to
we are, Davros.
vertical.
No,
reality.
you're talking about putting a level on a curved surface. Nothing to do with a fucking vertical.
Yeah. So if I put
Well,
the
I
water...
asked, is it?
I'm talking to chemo.
You can't answer it. Don't worry.
I'm
I mean,
asking the same thing. If you put the level on the vertical, what on the side of the basketball, will it be level?
Hang on. How do you get it? How can you call it vertical on the side of a ball? How do you know when you're at that point?
Exactly. Welcome to
Nice
see,
chatting,
Bev.
guys.
Welcome to Flat Earth. How? Say it again, Davros.
I'm asking you.
Say
I'm
it again.
asking you.
What did he say?
It
What did
was
he
a
say, Bev?
question, not a statement.
What did he say, Bev? Did you hear what he said?
Yeah. He said, "How do you have a vertical coming from the side of a ball or something like that?"
We've got to hear back because he said, "How do you get the level on the or something like that?" Which means you can't
Jesus
do.
That's a
Christ, you-
question.
Right, I've
It
got to
was
get
a question.
See you later, guys. That's been good. Got to go.
Run away.
Bye, Bev. Bye. Thanks for nothing.
I know, it's been funny as hell.
It's like talking to a 5-year-old, literally.
Hey, I've got a 6-year-old, right?
Oh, I'm sure it's very bright.
Oh,
Or he.
Jesus Christ, he shits all over me playing Minecraft, that's for sure. He buries me half the time, or he blows me up.
Is the water in Minecraft level?
What? No, actually, no.
So you were saying, how do you
No.
get a vertical on the side of a ball? That's
Oh,
what
sorry,
we're
I was
saying.
having a conversation with Brendan there, Chemo. Did you decide to interrupt that, did you?
No, because you thought it was over and it's just begun because you're saying you can have a vertical, or how do you have a vertical on the side of a ball?
No, I asked you.
That's what we're saying. So if you take your water level and put it on the side of a ball, what you're going to get? You're going to get a reading, no level.
What the hell are you talking about?
Who knows?
The horizontal and vertical reference frames are independent of the ball, right? No matter how big the ball, 24,000 miles of circumference, horizontal and vertical remain true.
No, they
wrap around
don't.
a ball.
No, they don't.
And what's
That's not
your
true.
what's your reference outside of there? What the
Reality. Fucking
Reality. You just make shit up.
Level and horizontal is true, right? It's true
Level
everywhere.
means conforming to the surface of the earth, the curvature of the earth.
Curvature
That's
is a
what level means.
presupposition, Brenda.
What?
The curvature is a presupposition.
No, it's known. It's been known for thousands of years.
No, it's never been measured.
Yeah,
It's
it
nothing
actually
you
is.
can- No.
Have you measured flat?
Oh,
How many times have you been telling that? You established a horizontal, there was no drop from the horizontal. That's the measurement, Brenda. You don't listen.
Any change from the horizontal, any vertical change up or down from the horizontal is elevation change.
Yeah, but have you
measure-
actually done that?
Yeah, you measure 1 mile out, Brenda. Okay.
Have
measure
you
1
done
mile
that,
out.
though?
Listen, nearly there. You measure 1 mile out, Brenda, and you see an 8-inch vertical drop. What are you going to call that?
Curvature.
No, you're going to call it an elevation change. Jesus, you have no clue.
I'd call it curvature if there's a drop,
Because
right?
you have a model. And if you went out and you measured 8 inches drop, right? Then you measure 8 inches back up. What do you call that?
8 inches back up. I don't know what you mean back up. The other way? You mean I turn it around? Is that what you mean?
Oh, you go 1 mile, you measure 8-inch drop. You go another mile, you measure an 8-inch rise. What do you call that?
An 8-inch rise. How did I measure an 8-inch rise?
Based on the horizontal that you established with your surveying instruments. You
Which
measure
one?
An 8-inch drop. What do you like? On an auto level? Yeah, that's a good one.
So I establish a vertical and a horizontal at my station at A, and then I have another station at B, right? And I measure an 8-inch drop from A
Yeah.
To be. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to call that what?
Curvature.
No, elevation change. You're dead wrong.
How do I know that it's elevation change?
Because from your horizontal that you established, you see an 8-inch drop from that horizontal. You go another mile and you get an 8-inch rise. What do you call that?
Well, what am I measuring on? Am I in a mountain? Am I on a mountain? Am I on a hill? Am I on a mountain or a hill?
I'm thinking you might be looking across a slight kind of a valley, right? Because you see a little bit of a drop, maybe, but probably got a creek running through there, right? Because you got an 8-inch drop over a mile, and then it goes back up a mile. So most of that water that lands on the surface of the earth, the ground, it's going to roll down to that low point, right? So you're measuring elevation changes all the way across the surface.
Right.
Continue on and on.
Right.
With that
So what if I
horizontal.
right? So what if I measure that 8-inch drop over the water?
You're gonna have a hard time surveying out across the water like that, right? What do you?
Let's say I can. Let's say I can do that. Let's say I can do that.
So how far can you look? You can't look more than
a mile.
Meters.
A mile. I can measure a mile.
Then right.
Suddenly I can't. Why couldn't I measure a mile? I did it just before that.
Listen, no, you didn't do the 1 mile in one shot. You went maybe 50 meters, maybe 100 meter increments to establish that 1 mile area. So now you're looking one shot across the water. You call that reciprocal leveling, but you're out of range, right? Reciprocal leveling is used when you're building a bridge across a big river because you want to set the bridge on one side to somewhere equivalent to the other side. So it's just a rough estimate of where that other side is. So you take a shot across, take a shot back, do it 6 different times, and you have a rough idea of where those 2 points are in relation to one another using reciprocal leveling technique. The other technique that what I was talking about, leveling across a mile in 50-meter increments, that is called differential leveling. That's where you can actually accurately determine your elevation changes, right? So as a surveyor,
so no, I just measure 1 mile in all one go.
Well, then you're a YouTube curveyor. You're not doing anything accurately. You're just saying, look, I see perspective drop. I'm going to hijack that term and I'm going to call it earth curvature. I'm going to throw some
one citation from a professional source that talks about perspective drop, please.
Yeah, why don't you go watch the Illinois Surveyor?
Yeah, no, I don't want you to tell me to go and find something. I want you to provide me.
You want me to do your research?
Yeah, because you're the one claiming
that.
You're the one that's claiming. You're the one that's claiming such a thing as perspective drop. Please
I'll give you a bargain.
Please back that up with some evidence, please.
Yeah, $50 an hour. I'll do your research for you. Okay?
I don't think so.
What, is that too high? That was a good deal because normally
then if you're going to refuse to do that, you can't make those citations then.
Oh yeah, you can go and do your own research.
No, you can't. You can't. No, you can't make those citations. You can't make those claims if you're not willing to back them up.
I'm not making the claims.
This is what we're talking about. Yeah.
I have a quick question for CLEARY, if it's okay.
Yes. Go on.
CLEARY, does the perspective drop also affect the 10-kilometer laser tests?
Laser diffraction, dude. You need to watch some videos with the physics guy. You can watch lasers diffract within an auditorium.
So lasers are not affected by perspective?
No, why would a laser be affected by perspective? Unless you're sighting a laser, but you're looking at a diffracted light anyway. So what are you talking about? You're not in a vacuum. You have atmospheric diffraction.
He's just saying words. He's just saying words.
He's saying words and he doesn't know what it means. Because I've got a feeling that he's using diffraction and refraction interchangeably.
No.
Yeah.
I don't even understand what refraction is.
What is refraction?
Unpolarized light coming down gets refracted off a taller object, right?
What?
That's the definition.
What? That's the definition of refraction?
Yes, it is. Unpolarized light coming down from the sun.
No, you just can't understand that.
A sailboat gets refracted down, and you see a horizontal reflection, right? You don't see the refracted light that actually
it's more words.
High level surveying. That's what you don't understand. You don't understand the jargon. surveying jargon.
If you don't understand,
yeah.
CLEARY, let me make it simpler. Can you
We
use
all
a theodolite
understand.
or 10 kilometers long?
it
Or
would
the
be a
distance
rough
of
guess. You're just looking in a telescope, right? That's what a theodolite is. You're just kind of looking. You could do like angular horizontal changes. You know, you could go from one peak to this peak and kind of look at an area like that, but you're not really measuring anything accurately. Kind of citing some straight lines. Nothing much more than
Why
that.
is it not accurate?
Because that's a theodolite, man. It's a telescope. If you want to accurately measure elevation changes, which I think that's what we all want to do, right? You want to see vertical changes.
You didn't address the reason why it's not accurate. You just said it's not accurate because it's a telescope. That's dumb.
You just repeated my answer. Thank you. And you told
It's
me
not an answer.
It's not an answer. It's a dumb statement.
I can say that water level isn't accurate because it's a water level.
You could make that statement if you want to, but that wouldn't be true. It's up to you.
Like your statement too isn't true.
Water level is accurate. I mean, how can you say it's not? What do you
Yeah, and
think
theodolite is also accurate.
It's accurate at looking down a sideline. Yeah, you're not measuring any vertical changes, accurately with a theodolite.
Why?
You guys have done absolutely no research.
You just said it's accurate, and then you said it's not accurate.
Yeah.
You don't understand the difference between horizontal datums and vertical datums, right? I could have a horizontal datum that says Chicago is 100 miles from this other city, right? That's a horizontal datum. Okay, what is the vertical datum? What is the difference between Chicago and some other city 100 miles away? That's a vertical datum, okay? There's a change in distance from the 2 points, so there's a change vertically in relation to one another.
Seeing as you're pretending to know so much about surveying, you'd also understand that taking reciprocal zenith angles, even on land, even at different elevations, shows that verticals aren't parallel.
You know what a zenith angle is? Which direction
do.
is it? Which direction is a zenith angle? Would you say it's closer to vertical or closer to horizontal?
What do you mean?
Is it closer
Yeah,
to
that's
vertical,
what I mean.
your zenith angle?
A zenith angle is an angle measurement between your sight line and the vertical.
So if I measure a zenith angle, is that going to be closer to the horizontal or is that going to be closer to the vertical?
What you're asking makes no sense.
Because you don't understand.
No, because you don't understand. What you're asking makes no sense because you don't seem to understand what a zenith angle is.
I understand what a zenith angle is. You don't.
Well, then you'd understand that what your question is saying makes no sense. Asking whether it's closer to a vertical or a horizontal makes no sense whatsoever.
When you take that zenith angle, and let's say you draw it in a diagram, would that zenith angle that you're demonstrating on your diagram be closer to a horizontal or a vertical?
Again, asking whether it's close, asking again whether it's closer to a vertical or horizontal, totally shows that you don't understand the concept of a zenith angle.
You got your friend Googling it, trying to figure it out while you're
No, I don't.
Which
a zenith
line?
angle, again, a zenith angle is the angle between your sight line and the vertical. That's all it is.
Right, so you're saying it's closer to horizontal. Right?
I'm not saying it's closer to anything. I didn't use the word closer. I did not use CLEARY. Listen, I did not use the word
Why do you want to
closer
shut me down?
at all.
I'm trying to respond. I understand that. You keep saying that. But what you're saying is the YouTube videos that you watched gave you some misinformation where you think that you have deviation in your plumb bobs, deviation in your vertical, all right, based on a zenith angle that someone calculated from points that were in a model that they gathered out on site, and then they put it back in the model and pretended like they measured tilt, and they want to infer curvature to you, which they never actually said in the first place. Then you come out here and represent the bullshit that they're putting out, and you're the fool, and Jesse Kozlowski's sitting back laughing at you because he's not out here defending the bullshit he did. You're out here as an agent and his idiot army defending what he did.
Agent, fuck off.
Yeah. All of that you said was just total bullshit. All I'm saying is simply if you measure reciprocal zenith angles, it will show that the verticals aren't parallel. That's all I'm saying.
do it
And
before
it
you
does
tell
nothing
me
to do
that
with the
that's
shape
It's
of
been
the
done.
line or anything. It's just
It's
Go
been
ahead,
done,
let's have a
Clary.
look.
It's
vertical.
Clary. It's been done. It's been
Who?
done.
Go ahead, then,
Kozlowski.
Brenda.
There you go. One fucking guy, a YouTube purveyor, did some bullshit on a video, and you're out here preaching it as mantra.
It's not just Jesse Kozlowski, it's other surveyors who've done it
They,
too.
they
Like
always
who?
try and claim it was just Jesse Kozlowski and the main surveyor that have ever done. It's part of their standard
Then tell me
tactic
somebody else.
is to
Tell me
make it
somebody
about
else.
these two people on YouTube and pretend that this isn't a standard practice that's been done around the world for hundreds of years. It's
Thousands
ridiculous.
of people for hundreds of years. Show me one other person who can tell you I measured deviation and plumb bob. Show me. Show me someone.
Will one other person
I'm
satisfy you?
And
I'm
there were
talking
no,
about geodesy
experts
now.
who know this.
How have you confirmed there isn't any deviation in the plumb bob clearing?
Because vertical is perpendicular to horizontal.
So just words.
Right here,
then. It's because
right there,
of words.
everywhere.
Because of
you say it?
the definition of a word, a single
Mhm.
definition when there are several, that's how you're deriving reality. Because
That's how I
of
can
some
define
words.
reality. Yes. Right here where I'm
Well,
at, level.
And you think
perpendicular.
that that's an efficient way of finding out about
vertical.
reality? To look in a dictionary and see what words mean, and that will tell you how reality is.
Yeah,
Good
vertical is perpendicular, horizontal here is where you're at, where everyone on here is at every single point.
Again, clearly, this
vertical
is just a
perpendicular to
silly
horizontal.
assertion that the only thing you have to back up is a dictionary definition.
And reality. Yes, reality.
Well,
You're right.
well, you haven't checked reality, though, have you, Cleary?
Mhm.
Have
Yeah,
you done
I
this
have.
in reality?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have measured plumb at two separate locations and compared one location with the other location.
Yeah, it's always perpendicular to horizontal.
How did you do that?
Well, I had a plumb line, right? And then I had a level. And then I moved and I had a again.
Okay, but how did you compare one to the other?
Perpendicular.
I was very specific to say compare one to the other, not just do it in two locations. So are you saying now that you just did it in two locations and you didn't compare one to the other?
That's what I heard him say. That's what I heard him say, Jim.
Oh yeah, I
tried
could
to get that
demonstrate
little
that for
trick
you.
in there, you see, but
Yeah, he
you
did.
have to spot every single word with this fucker because it's just
Yeah, I can
bullshit
demonstrate it
all the
anyway.
way.
Can you demonstrate? Can you
No,
demonstrate?
we're
the
talking
contrary?
about
Can you demonstrate
how
plumb deviant?
we're talking about your basis for making this assertion that you're calling everyone else stupid and saying we're making fools of ourselves over. So how have you established that plumb lines are perpendicular with respect to each other at two separate locations? Go ahead.
Plumb bobs are perpendicular
Okay.
to horizontal.
Again, we
and
know
plumb
what the
bobs are
assertion
parallel
is.
to
How
one
have you
another.
established
Let me
your
just say it.
assertion is true?
Because I can establish plumb bobs all along.
Okay, so
a mile,
when did
and they're
you do
all
that?
parallel
When did
to one
you do
another.
that?
You
When
can't
did you do
the
that?
contrary. Oh, when did I do that?
Yeah.
Well, I
Again,
haven't done that.
hang on, stop before you go any further.
For a mile.
Again, we're talking about comparing one to another, not just doing it in several locations. So have you switched to doing it in several locations from comparing one to another? When I specifically asked you about referencing one to the other, is that what you've done? You've tried to get away with that again, have you?
Oh no, I haven't done that, but I haven't made the assertion.
Okay,
that
so
plumb
have
bobs are
you
non-parallel like you guys
compared
have,
one
based on
location?
a YouTube
Have you
survey.
compared plumb at one location with plumb at another location?
I have. In
With
relation to one
respect to
another.
each
not
other.
well, that would take a little more work, which
So
I have.
Again, try to pull off a little word game there yet again. Is this all you have, Cleary? It's just to pretend,
No, it's just reality, man. You know
just
it.
to deliberately misunderstand what's being said to you in the hope that somehow you'll pull off some sort of trick from it. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You're talking about something maybe you could go do. That would be great. You could go.
I
out
don't need to go and do it. I know the shape. I'm not confused about the shape.
Well,
of
you
the Earth.
haven't done it though. I
I don't need to. I don't need to. It's not my.
You just need to believe one thing or the other.
Turning it back
It's not
onto
my
you.
way of establishing the shape of the Earth. I don't need to go and do it. You do, because
You
you're
don't
the
need
one.
to, you just
You're the
wanna
one
believe
making
what
all
you
the
wanna believe.
assertions about it, not me.
Jim,
I'm just saying it's reality, and you say it differs from reality.
Jim, you made an assertive
I'm
claim that
saying
no
you
one.
can't say it's reality because you haven't bothered to check.
Jim, you
Oh,
made
yeah,
an
I've checked.
assertive.
No, you haven't.
Cleary, if
You've
that's
told
all
us
right.
you haven't. So don't say, oh yeah, I have, because you've just said that you haven't.
At each individual point I have. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Merle.
At each individual point, I said. At each.
Because the check that you need to do is one with respect to the other. So that isn't checking. So doing it in, not doing that at all is not doing that. So don't.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
When you have
do that. Yeah,
well, Jem made an assertive claim that no one in this room will be able to ascertain what the shape of the Earth is. That's a bold claim, isn't it?
I didn't make that claim.
I didn't hear him say that.
You did before.
When did I make that claim?
You said no, the shape of the Earth will not come down or be determined by anyone in this room.
No, I don't think I did.
I don't recall him saying that, Merle.
I think what I have said along those lines is that people doing their own tests isn't going to add, for me, it doesn't add to the body or subtract from the body of evidence. That's
Because you need to do it yourself, Jim. You need to prove it
No, I
yourself
don't.
one way or the
No,
other.
I don't. That's absurd. You don't. Most of the things you know to be true are not because you've done it yourself. So pretending that that's required is ridiculous, and I don't need to do it.
Jem said that the shape of the Earth doesn't depend on what people say in this room.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. Thanks.
And I have said this about how, you know, when people do these little tests, it's never going to change anything for me because there's already a massive body of evidence out there supporting one proposition, and one or even 2 or 3 tests done by amateurs in this way is never ever going to be compelling enough, I don't think.
Until you stop referring to the Earth as a singular object, like some simple shape like a ball or a flat pizza, you're never going to understand reality. Okay, you can measure.
It's not a singular object.
What should we refer to it?
Can you confirm that?
What? What the fuck?
Yes, we can. What should we refer to it as?
You should refer to it as land.
That's desperation. Now you're sinking.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a new low, Cleary.
You exist upon
That is an
land,
absolute
right?
new low.
Yeah, it's exactly right, and that's why you don't like it. You exist
What
upon
about the
land,
ocean? Do I refer to that as
and
well?
the oceans exist in your reality here, right?
Well, yeah, we have to refer to the ocean as land now, I guess. The ocean is land?
The ocean is water, and the
No, but
land.
you said we
is
have to
earth.
refer to the earth as land.
You know nothing more than where you're at, right?
So,
You
all
think
right.
you're
So,
a
when,
singular
so
object.
when we talk about, instead of saying the earth, we should say the land water now.
Yeah,
Is
the
that
land
what
and
you
the
said?
water. The land and the water and the air.
So all we can know is just land and
Sound-
water.
It's sounding a bit biblical, isn't it? No,
No, it's actually way before the Bible.
What's
Four elements.
underneath? What's
How
underneath?
about
the
this?
water?
How about this crazy idea, Cleary? How about we use the English language in the way that people who speak English understand it? How about that mad, crazy idea?
Yeah,
What do you
earth,
think?
wind, fire,
You're
and water.
radical.
Yeah, earth, wind, fire, and water.
As you
That's
said,
really
air,
about
air.
elements.
Thank you, yes.
Air, wind,
As you
water.
said.
The
Oh,
element.
that is wind, yeah. Air.
Yeah, Jem, you have a case of the humors.
Yeah, that's right. The 4 humors. If you're like your boys, your heliocentric guys, they used to try to cure people with the 4 humors based on astrological signs. Yep, Copernicus, Aristotle. Yep.
You know
That's
what I
right.
find humorous clearly? How these
Oh,
geniuses
fuck.
think.
Yeah,
how these
down we
geniuses
go.
think
Doesn't even know we're talking.
SE, I can't even hear you, man. They just
Yeah,
talk all over you.
Essie, tell us what he's got to say about us geniuses. Go ahead, Essie.
This is the genius that they believe, Cleary. They believe that a plum bomb in Canada and a plum bomb underneath in Australia are parallel.
No, we don't.
Plum. Both plum.
No, they
Wow.
point in opposite
Yeah.
directions, dude.
Yeah.
They point in different directions.
Well, I know what they think.
Wow, that
You
is
have no
genius.
idea.
Brandon, can you
Your
establish
theory,
the
because
reference
your
range, horizontal
strategy
and
relies
vertical?
pretty much on you pretending that you don't know what we think, remember? It's kind of...
Oh, I know what you
It-
mean. I laugh at
Part
it.
of,
I laugh at it.
part of that is also saying that we don't understand things that they think they've got a handle on or something like that. I mean, Cleary's just a fucking knob.
You're the
Thank
knob,
you.
dude. You
Essie,
believe
I have a
that
question.
plum bombs and
Essie.
a ball are all parallel. They're all pointing in the same direction.
Who
Nobody
said that,
thinks
SE?
that.
Who
Nobody
said
thinks
that?
that.
Who
You're
said that, SE?
I have a question. Essie, you said that we think that a plumb bob in Canada and Australia are parallel. Do you
You
think that
meant to
they're
say
not?
perpendicular.
Yeah, I'm
Because
sorry.
you're
I
trying to
misspoke.
demonstrate your
I
confused model.
Ah,
My
okay.
bad.
Your
Yeah,
model's
fair enough.
so jackass up that he
It works
said it wrong.
perfectly, but yeah, it's not fucked at all.
So you're laughing
Yeah,
at
it
a
is.
guy that tells you all palm bombs are perpendicular, but you think that you're smarter on a
Oh,
ball.
palm bobs
At him,
are.
we were asking,
Plumb bobs are parallel.
we weren't,
Plumb bobs are
we weren't
perpendicular.
laughing at him. We were asking him to provide evidence for that assertion, and all he
You
has,
need evidence of a
and
ball.
all he has is a dictionary definition, which I think is not much to go on.
No, he has logic, which you do not have. Logic.
Bad props, SE. Appreciate it. Yeah, Jim, Panda, can you establish horizontal and vertical where you're at?
Why would I need to do that? Why would I do that? What would be?
I mean, could you? If you wanted to hang like a picture on the wall,
yeah,
a
I
picture
could
of
do. Yeah, if
yourself.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
What would be the point?
Because you want to make sure it's level, right? You want to put it on the wall because you don't want somebody to come in and say, "Damn, that picture's crooked," right?
Okay, but what is your point?
Well, my point is you can establish horizontal and vertical in your reality where you exist, no matter where you go. You can do that,
Right.
right? Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
No.
what you know. That's what you prove. That's what you can prove. That's what you can demonstrate. That's what we all know to be true. And you want to talk about something to the contrary, which you cannot prove. Which you will
No,
not
that's
try.
We can
to
prove it easily. We can
No, you
prove
can't.
it.
Do it.
yeah. Gravity establishes a local down.
Oh, the G
Right?
word. Yeah, gravity. Yep. Gravity
So
is a
in your
downward
lane
vector.
brain, we can make a line 3 miles long, and the first one is going to be straight down, and the other one is going to be pointed a little bit to the side, a degree or
If it's a level line, SE, level line comports to the surface of the Earth and comports to the plumb bob. What we notice is when we compare those plumb bobs with each other, they're not parallel to each other.
Where have you noticed that? Where?
That's been done many, many, many times. It's referenced in hundreds of surveying books, and yeah, so it's a very well-known thing. Are you doubting that's a well-known thing, Essie?
Yep, I'm doubting that. Yep.
So you think that in surveying they don't claim that plumb bobs are not parallel?
Oh, they claim that. I have yet to see that with my eyes, though. They
Oh,
claim
it's
that,
So
sure.
so you do know it's out there. You do know it's a known thing, and you do know it's referenced in hundreds of textbooks. And we have
Oh,
the
whatever.
data
You're just
to
trying to
support it.
drag him
just
down the fucking road to a textbook again. Give me a
Yeah, of
break.
course. Just like I know in a textbook that they say that the sun is 93 billion or million miles away. They say stars are billions and billions and miles away. I call the same bullshit that I do on that.
Well, just doesn't do anything.
No
All right,
problem.
y'all have fun. I'll
Every
come back
plumb
later.
bob I ever saw hangs
Oh,
straight
Cleary,
down.
you going? Oh, he's gone. No way.
Who's gone?
I mean, the surveyors, the experts, these guys who measure the horizontal, can explain to you how...
When are you going to bring one in?
Well, they've been in all morning for the last couple of hours, so missed it.
Well, Bev isn't really an expert, is he? And he's got problems with geometry.
Neither are you, to be fair.
I'm not. No, I never claimed to be, though. I'm not,
Yeah, but
not
he's
claiming. I
teaching
mean,
you guys-
all I've got is some anecdotal stuff that I've read, some evidence I've reviewed. It seems pretty consistent. So
But
yeah,
just
I'm a layman
because
on this topic, I
just
agree.
because your pictures are crooked, Brenda, you can't set a picture straight anywhere. That's your problem.
What are you talking about? What are you trying to say?
Because Cleary was saying that he can set a picture straight, horizontal.
Yeah.
So it's not crooked. But you said no.
I can do that too. No,
you said no.
That's not what I said no to. That's not what I said no to. I said no to what he was implying. So everybody on Earth can establish a local plumb, a local perpendicular, and hang a picture on the wall where they are that is perfectly level. Everybody on Earth can do that.
Well,
I
I've got
want
a
you
quick
to hang
question on
him in a
that one,
circle.
Brenda. What if
I
you've
want
got a
you to take your
diamond shaped
pictures and hang
frame
him
or
in
an
a
oval shaped
circle
frame or
and show me how
another
they're going
shape
to
that's
be
not square?
all even.
Oh, sorry. I see. I was in the middle of asking.
Yeah,
a
but we
question.
can we can use water, Brenda, as the base of the picture and have that picture set horizontal for 10 miles, 100 miles.
Yeah, everybody on Earth, in the globe model, everybody on Earth could use a water level to level the pictures that they hang on the wall. Yeah, everybody can do that. What's wrong with that?
No, that's impossible. We can't do that. Level a picture on a wall? No.
You're saying that we can't use levels?
No, impossible.
Yeah,
Brenda.
so what I'm saying, Brenda, is that we can level for any distance then. A mile, 10 miles will always be level and horizontal.
Oh yeah, it'll always be level. It'll always be level. Everywhere on Earth is level.
Level to your imaginary curve, right?
And horizontal, though. Horizontal.
They diverge with distance, Chemo, so therefore it cannot be both over distance.
Your delusional curve.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying locally. I'm just saying
nobody cares what you say, SE, so it's meaningless.
Well, speaking
Chemo,
of delusional,
go out and
Brenda,
prove what you're claiming then.
Well, speaking of delusional, Brenda,
we
can I
don't
just
need to
ask you to look
prove-
in the chat box just really quickly? Just really quickly, and then I'll
What?
shush.
I don't really.
Brenda, what?
Not really
is
interested.
that picture real or fake?
I don't know what you're talking about.
They landed on Mars last night. Is that picture real or fake?
I believe it's real. Yeah.
Was it plumb to the Martian surface or not?
Do you have any reason to believe it's fake, Mel?
Look at the horizon. Look at the
You guys
horizon,
are
James.
too comical.
Okay, what's the problem with the horizon?
They landed on Mars.
What's wrong with it?
Okay, what's wrong with the horizon?
What would you say?
It's not
Well,
Mars.
I guess you think it's too curved because it's probably quite a wide-angle lens that they've got there.
It's an engineering camera. It isn't really a science camera. It's just a work camera. It's there to do one job. It's not supposed to be some fantastic image.
So would you
I
say
imagine
Mars?
it's very, very small, probably.
Yeah,
It's probably,
yeah.
You know,
So
like the
hold on.
size
So
of
can
a
I just
phone
ask?
camera or something.
Can I ask? Are they watching? It's landed on Mars, right? This thing or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's what's going on? Is something driving around Mars?
It's going to drive, and it has a drone.
No, but hold on. Let me
as
ask some
well.
questions. Let me ask the questions. So something
Kimo,
drive.
it has a helicopter.
I know, but what
Why
what,
is that he cutting in?
what I want to ask is so something's not driving around Mars. Are we watching it from the Earth, or is it just? How does it work? So the
We can't
things.
see it. We can't see the actual object from the Earth, but it has cameras on it. It has
That's what I'm
actually
asking,
a lot
yeah.
of cameras, I think.
That's what I'm asking. So the person
Or at
control.
least the lander part did. So we should get some good shots of the landing when it all downloads.
Let me ask. The buggy, whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but the thing on Mars is somebody controlling it, and they can see through a camera.
Well, it takes 11 minutes for a signal to come back from Mars, so they can't control it directly, but they can give it instructions, and it does some stuff autonomously.
Does it have a certain amount of AI built in? I don't actually know.
Stop being
I
silly
don't
now,
know.
Brenda. I'm asking. So
No, it does.
I'm trying to
on its own.
figure out. So you're saying it's not something we can watch like live in like a live stream. It's something that relays pictures back, and no one's controlling the buggy. It's just going around on its own mission.
So the connection that the buggy has with Earth is really shitty. It's almost as bad as Curve's connection to the Discord.
Yeah, but I don't mean that. I'm not talking. I'm talking about if
That's supposed
somebody
to be funny.
down
I thought
here.
that was funny.
That
They
was.
would create a set of instructions, they would upload it to it, and then it would perform those instructions.
So it's never going to
So
see
can-
anything in real time.
Can I just ask
No.
again? So from the picture, that
But
I
it's 11
posted-
minutes away.
Hang on.
For the radio signal to travel. So
So from the horizon, there,
11 minutes ago, if you like.
from that horizon, would you say that Mars is about 5 meters by 5 meters?
Why are you babbling about this,
Approximately,
Mo?
yeah,
I need
that's
to check
what
and see
you
if my
got that
connection's
right.
okay.
You can't determine that, can you? You don't even know if you're looking at a horizon or just a rise in the ground.
Is my connection working?
What do you mean?
Yeah,
a rise in the a rise in the
I want to
ground?
hear from Brenda.
Yeah,
It's
obfuscate
reflection, Merle. It's
over the target.
reflection.
Don't know
Thank you. Thank
you
you.
don't
Obvious.
know, and I don't
Cheers.
think actually that's like a far distant horizon. I think that's just, you know, a bit of hill or something.
Refraction.
Oh, a hill. What's the problem? Sometimes you're at the bottom of the hill. You're looking up a slope slightly. You can see the crest of the hill. Why is that?
How do you know there's hills on Mars?
Something I have to explain.
How do you know there's hills on Mars?
Oh wow. Merle found the bone.
You guys are desperate
Merle
now.
found the bone.
What? So you got satellite footage of Mars?
know it
No,
landed.
chew that bone, Merle.
I got
Chew
shoes
that,
on Mars.
chew that bone. Chew that bone, Merle. Chew that bone.
Merle, you reckon they have a vending machine up there?
I think
Hills
there are
on
no
Mars,
vending
though.
machines on Mars, I see.
So, look, more questions. So, you had yes. So, more questions, Jem, Brenda, and any other Glober who wants to answer. So you're saying it takes 11 minutes. So you're saying,
Yeah.
I mean, Elon Musk sent up that link with many different satellites in a row, right? So,
Darling, yeah.
yeah, Starlink. So why then, to increase the link, don't they just from Mars to here send things like around from here to Mars in an orbit?
It does actually. I think it does actually communicate directly with the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and then that communicates with Earth. I think mostly, but obviously, it's just the distance to Mars.
No.
Listen, because this is important. Radio signals travel at the speed of light. Mars is a long way away. It takes 11 minutes for a radio signal to get here from there.
If it was, I know it's probably too long for a wire, but if it was a wire, would it take 11 minutes? No, of course.
Yes, it would.
No, it
yes,
wouldn't.
Yes, according to their fantasy.
it would
yes,
take longer.
It would have to.
Why?
It would have to.
How? Why?
It wouldn't be traveling at the speed of. I guess if it was fiber optic, what about that, Moya?
No,
that's
the
a
speed of
point.
light is
80%.
fixed. According to your fantasy, nothing, no which way can travel faster than that.
What?
That's what we found so far.
You're
so
saying
far.
that light can travel faster than the speed of light, Brenda?
No. Who said
Okay.
that?
No, nobody said.
No, I
That's what
said.
I just said.
No, I said what? I didn't hear.
Oh, my bad. So the answer
So
to
who
that
are you-
is
when
no,
you're
they
hearing these
can
voices
never
in your head?
increase that telecommunications. According to the speed of light, never.
Well, I wouldn't say they'd never. I mean, we don't know that for sure. I mean, it doesn't look likely at the moment. But
No.
Well,
not
if
likely.
Einstein was
there
correct.
might be some
yeah.
way we could have communication faster than light. I guess. I don't know.
Not according to Einstein.
Yeah,
well,
that's
probably
true.
not.
Yes, and Einstein could be wrong someday in the future. Right now, we can't do it, and Einstein holds true. There you go, dumbass.
Well, just need Starfleet subspace communication network.
Right.
Hyperspace, I don't know, wormhole communication.
Look, if you imagine, the possibilities are endless. But you guys are good at imagining, so yeah.
No, hold on a second. So if I make a telephone call to America, it's instant. It's wired.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No.
If I talk to you now, it's instant.
No.
No. It's,
What do you mean? No, I'm talking.
that's
to you
not
now.
even. That's chemo. That's not even true in person.
We are talking in real time now.
Yeah,
No.
there's a slight delay. There is a slight delay, and it's the latency.
What
between
delay? No
the
delay. I
signal
hear every
coming
word
to
straight
you
away.
and the signal coming back to me.
You can hear me
And we
over
measure
talking you
that.
because I'm
That's a
over
part of
talking
a
you.
process called time delay
Listen. When I'm
When
over
we hear somebody's speakers, we hear it, don't we?
No, but what I'm asking
We hear
is,
that delay.
look, I'm over talking you. We are now talking at the same time. No delay. Exactly. So if we're talking over...
Actually, again, Chemo, you got a problem here, which is the fact that for me to send a signal from A to B takes time. We use that method to utilize things like radar or time delay reflectometry. It's exactly that process that tells us the time delay in between sending a signal and receiving that signal back. So no, you are not speaking in real time.
No, you're missing the point here. If there's a wire from here to America, and I call you, we're speaking immediately. Immediately.
There is a very slight time delay,
We're not
it's just
speaking,
very
so I
small.
say a word. It's not like on television where they go, you know, they wait for the person.
Chemo, you're just rattling on when somebody's trying to answer you. Why are you doing that?
Because you're not explaining what, you're not understanding what I'm
He's a cock.
You're not understanding my full
No,
question.
He's been very reasonable with me today, and I would like to extend that olive branch.
For example,
But I
that's why
disagree
he's
with you,
doing what he's
and
doing.
Chemo, and I don't want to be mean here, but this is something that I have knowledge in.
Well, let me
This is an
ask my
area I
question
specialise
then.
in. So
Yeah,
time delay, it's called time delay and time delay reflectometry. We measure that latency in milliseconds.
No, I'm not. You don't understand what I'm asking. I'm just talking about through a wire. As soon as you connect, soon as now we're connected. Once you're connected, the communication is immediate. Once you're connected.
False.
I think I know what Chemo's saying. Chemo, even with the wire, bro, according to the laws of Newton, right? Nothing can travel faster than 186,000
Wow, that's not
miles
Newton,
per
buddy.
second. So that's why on Earth it could be done. I'm telling you according to what they say. You
That's
get
not
it?
Newton, dude.
It's measurable delay, actually.
If I said Newton, I made a mistake. Einstein.
That doesn't matter who you vote. It's a measure. It's nothing to do with the paradigm of physics you want to talk about. It is a measurable delay.
What's the ping time? You can check it on your Discord.
Yes, but Chemo is saying, why is there no big delay here?
Why is
whereas
there
is
that
a
ping time?
delay far away. That's what I think.
Okay, what I want you to do is to tell me when you're starting the measurement of 5 milliseconds and when you're stopping it. Can you do that in language, please?
Well, when you say delay, do you mean in the time that I hear you?
From the time that I'm speaking to the time that you hear me, there will be a delay.
What's the delay? I hear you immediately.
It's about 5 to probably about
No,
50
I
milliseconds.
hear you straight
How
away.
the fuck does Chemo know he hears you immediately?
He doesn't. He's
don't-
making the assumption.
Exactly.
Because the end of his sentence was delayed as well, and then the gap between the two sentences was delayed, and then the start of your sentence was delayed as well.
So how can I be in
So they're
Australia
not
and you
delayed
guys
with
hear
respect
me
to each other.
instantly?
No. Just
How
last
can
thing,
you give
Mel.
it-
Last thing, Mel.
It's
What
not
I mean,
instant.
this is what I mean by delay. So when they're on the ISS and they wait for a few seconds before they reply, that's the delay I'm talking about. That never happens here.
And you'll find
I think
that's
it
probably
does.
due to the way that they're getting the signal back. So quite often it's going to centers which are then
But if it was a
relayed back
wire,
to-
if it was a wire,
Okay,
there'd be
fine.
no delay.
I'll go quiet.
Still be a
until I
bit
can
of a
talk.
delay, is what we're saying.
Not with a wire. There's never a delay.
All
There's
right.
always a
If
delay.
you say
There's
so,
a delay
Chemo,
every
that's not
second.
true, but so what?
All
Where
right.
does that get you?
So, of course, if you were to have the Starlinks linked up, not with wires, but more of them, there would be less of a delay.
Nope, actually greater.
Again, Chemo, you're really
Starlink's
talking about a topic you do not understand.
Starlinks are satellites around Earth. How is that going to get a signal back from Mars quicker?
I'm saying they should orbit between Mars and the Earth.
It would still
Kick
travel the
'em.
same distance. It would just have to go from one to another, wouldn't it? It would still...
Fucking kick him.
You
Still
can't
be
What is the
increase
point
the
of-
speed, Chemo. No matter how many satellites you put, you cannot increase the speed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could,
Nope,
just,
actually
I,
it
could
decreases.
just, I could just go down the Bev route here and say, okay, Chemo, what are you going to measure that delay with or that lack of delay with? Do you understand what that is?
Yeah.
But I'm not
You
going
are
to do
problem
that.
with
limited by the
actually,
speed of
any
light.
relay
You're
system?
not limited by the how many machines you have. You're limited
if
by
you
the
act-
speed.
The more machines that you put in your link, the more relays that you put in your link to Mars, the slower the signal will go.
Yes,
because each one of
because the
them
more processing points you have.
amplify and re-amplify the signal, or demodulate and modulate the signal again.
This is called round trip analysis, Chemo, if you want to look it up. And it works off a principle called time delay and time delay reflectometry.
They were just questions. Calm down, everyone. Ask
And
questions.
You want to ask
recorded
them
on
questions?
network.
Ask them how come Nixon talked instantaneously
it's
on the moon
recorded in
without a delay?
networking under an SNMP standard called
Nixon
RFC
didn't.
1.
That's not going to slide by.
Nixon
Chemo,
didn't
you're not
talk
just
without
asking
delay.
questions, you're making declarative statements.
No,
that
they're
you're
there to
wrong
get the
about.
right answers. Yeah, so they're questions.
Don't try to play that angle.
And it's all question.
And Nixon didn't talk
It's
without
not
delay.
questions. The only question is, why the fuck are you here?
Because we've been lied to about the shape of the earth.
You're a slimy, lying son of a bitch. That's
Namely
why.
because you are pushing this spherical trigonometry. So, we have to correct.
You're the one lying right now, saying you're just asking questions when you're clearly making statements.
No, that was then.
Now, that's
You
the
asked
end
why
of,
am I
that's
here?
the end of that.
You asked
Everyone knows you're lying
You
and
asked
you
me a
don't care.
question, why am I here? I'm answering it. And the answer to
Don't
that
care
question.
about that answer.
Well, you asked the question.
How
why
is he
am I
lying?
here?
He's asking
That was
a
a
question. How is he
rhetorical
lying?
question.
Why am I
Chemo.
here? And the answer to that is because you,
There
not
is
just
no
you,
answer.
but there are people like you who have this belief that the Earth is curving. You even have your name as curved. We're going to straighten that out and show that you don't have any spherical.
That's not even what I'm asking about.
No, but you asked why. That is why.
I'm talking about with respect to like your role here to just fuck shit up and rile people up and lie. That's what I'm talking
destroy the
about.
globe. That's right. We messed stuff up. That's right. The globe is no more. It's been messed up. Agree? What we do.
And lie. And you lie.
No, again, what we do is raise awareness about your spherical non-trigonometry.
You raise awareness about how much you lie.
About your
by
bendy,
lying all
your
the
bendy
time.
lines that you think lines can cut.
No, you weren't just asking
triangles,
questions.
Triangle. I mean,
This is so clear. This is so simple. Yet you'll defend it. You'll die on this hill, even though you're 100% dead fucking wrong.
Is that hill curving? Can I put a triangle on that hill? What kind of spherical geometry can I use on this hill?
Yuck, 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 yuck.
See curved? Hill has a lot of straight lines. The H,
Not funny.
3 straight lines. I, straight line. Got the L,
Earth humor.
two straight lines in
Oh,
L,
a
and another
word
2 straight lines.
game. A word game. Well, you've developed your own word game, Chemo. Good job.
Yeah. So there you go. Straight lines on the hill. So
The new flat Earth thing. Silly word games.
no, it's not word games. It's just simply trying to expose the globe lie. You have to do it in any different ways. Every different way. Everyone's different. My way is direct, but not so aggressive. Hopefully.
No, it's
And
not.
not honest.
You avoid questions as much as possible, Chemo. As much as possible.
I avoid making claims. Yes. So if you ask me to make a claim, I'm going to avoid that like the plague.
Oh,
Like the
bullshit. You make claims
coronavirus.
all the time.
But why?
Like
That's
COVID.
the thing, isn't it?
What making
That's
claims?
That's part of the game. Can't
Make
you see
claims.
that?
No, you guys have started
But
the
you're
game by
avoiding
making
making
the
claims, and the thing is, I understand. Of course, you don't want to claim things to be true that you don't know to be true.
Right.
But what you're saying is, you avoid like the plague making claims. Well, you shouldn't be. You should be trying to be in a position where you can make claims.
Yeah, but look
It's
where that's
because
gotten
the flat
you.
earthers are smart. Go ahead, Kimo.
Well, I was going to say, look where that's gotten you, basically, making claims. Go on, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the flat earthers are smart enough to know that they shouldn't make claims for shit they can't prove, as to where the globers would just make willy-nilly claims all day about shit that they can't even prove.
But the result of that is that you don't know anything, Jeremy.
We don't know the wrong thing. You guys
don't know
run
anything.
around
We don't
in
know
your
any-
mind and you know the
we-
wrong thing.
But you don't know the right thing either, do you?
I'd rather not know than know the wrong thing.
Right. So we could shorten that and be more concise and say you don't know anything, do you?
I would say
on
they
a
like
particular
to,
issue. You were.
I'd actually like.
When you
Sorry,
take
go.
this strategy, it leaves you ignorant on the subject.
I was just about to say that sounds
your
like
goal,
living in ignorance to me.
Your goal is to be the opposite of ignorant on the subject. Your goal is to be knowledgeable on the subject, right?
The goal is to be honest about the way we go about knowing things. That's the
Yeah, but I don't think you're doing that, are you? Because you're saying this is what we need to believe this to be true, and that isn't true of anything else that you believe to be true.
No, again, remember the old world when it was a religious world, they just
You set
believed They believe that like if you dance, rain will come. So basically, that's what you guys are saying today. Is that we just
Deflection.
Oh. Go for it.
No, that was just a deflection.
Oh, I thought you said a quick question.
Chemo, I realize that all you can do is lie. The problem is right now you're just not entertaining.
Well,
Your job is to be entertaining. Why can't you come up with entertaining lies instead of the same old boring bullshit that you've been giving us today? This is very boring, Chemo, your behavior.
Well, like I said, this is not entertainment. You come into this thinking you'll be able to outsmart.
You're damn right it's not. So get on it. Do your job.
Well, the job is to expose the
Well
globe.
said.
The job is to show, Curve, like I said, that you and your brethren here in your congregation have no evidence for the spinning globe, the curving globe that's flying through space. Science tells us that you cannot have a vacuum without a container. Science, like actual science, if you do science, it will show and demonstrate you cannot have gas pressure next to a vacuum. If you do some science,
Ha ha ha! He hasn't said that before.
if you do science, it will show that you cannot have gas pressure without a container. Now, but just those three things there, Curved, pretty much destroy any ideas of trigonometry, geometry, or any measurements that you think that you predicted manner. So unless you can get with the science, it's poetry. Yeah? And that is not entertaining. That is heartbreaking. Yes, that is not a good look, not a good feel. Especially if you're on the globe side.
I'm shopping for a coffee maker. Did you say something?
Yeah, what I was saying
Not to be any worth.
simply saying that science is what's a problem for you, causing you an issue. So if you can get science out of the way, you can have your idea of a globe flying where it's supposed to do. Mars, on Mars, buggies on Mars. I mean, you've got this planet, so-called red planet.
Science will never be gotten out of the way, Chemo.
Exactly. And as long as we have science with experiments, that's what we're going to go with. Not with, like...
Well, how about you actually get an experiment or something other than, blather? Because from what I see, you don't do anything other than sit in your house and talk about flat Earth and how we're all being lied to. You don't do anything.
At the moment, we're locked down, and we can only go out for essentials. So I'm going to do a bit of shopping, probably later on. Got some stuff to do. So I've got to go out for a bit of exercise. We're allowed to running, a bit of walking, like that. What else are we allowed to do? Medical. So can't really do much at the moment, but March will be free. Have our liberties back. Everyone should be cured.
Why is it hard to run uphill versus downhill when the whole time you're at rest with the ground, at equilibrium with the ground all the time?
Have you ever run downhill?
What the fuck does that even mean, Curved?
Well, the reason is Curved is to do with your muscle, to do with your strength, to do with your ability. Now, obviously, you've got mountain climbers who will get up that wall a lot quicker than you're up to, because they obviously have training, they are stronger, and they don't feel that force that you say pulling all of your...
But this used to be my question, or an adaptation of it. It was that if I ride my bike down up a gentle slope, right? I have to pedal to get it up the gentle slope.
Right.
But then I can turn it around and just and go down the gentle slope without having to pedal.
Yes, of course. That's the density.
Right. So did the density change then?
No, you need a force, obviously, to get up to elevate, right? And your legs.
Right, but where did the density change? Because in the one hand, I require a force.
No, yes,
to
yes.
go up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
I have to put energy in.
Yep.
but then the density and buoyancy and whatever, the relative density, that hasn't changed at all in this thing.
No.
does it?
Well, what's changed? Let me explain.
Okay, what changed?
Yes. So when you're at the bottom of the hill, we're in disequilibrium. Yes. So once that happens, you're trying to find equilibrium. Now that can be in any direction, not just down. But in this case, you would go back to find equilibrium. That's all it is. Is that you need a force to go up the hill to get into equilibrium. Because if you were to pedal fast enough, you would.
How do we establish that I'm not in equilibrium at the bottom of the hill then?
Because you're pressing on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're creating a pressure with you.
Okay, and that's true at the top of the hill as well. So I don't see what that establishes.
Well, like I just said, both places you're in disequilibrium.
Both places I'm in disequilibrium. I thought
you just at the top of the hill. Yeah, so if you're at the top,
I thought one was the process of getting back to equilibrium.
Yeah, but you wasn't in equilibrium on the ground at the bottom.
I wasn't in equilibrium.
No.
Okay, how do you know that? What was the difference between there and the top of the hill?
So you wasn't in equilibrium because of the medium that you were on the surface of the ground. If you were on top of water, then you would have been in equilibrium. Then how? Ask yourself this: if you were on top of water on your bike, how would you?
Is this making sense to anyone else? Because it doesn't.
No.
Wait a second. Who's got the Jesus bike?
Look, if you were in equilibrium on top of the water on your bike, how would you get up the hill? Exactly.
I would follow the birds.
That's the point.
To get a bike on top of water and
no,
go
let's
up a
say
hill,
you could float.
that-
You could float. You would float on top of the water. You would have to create enough force to get up that hill. If you could pedal hard
If
enough.
pickles had wings and lips,
Yeah, I would.
and-
Yeah, I've done surfing and I had to paddle to get to overcome waves, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So you've got to create a strong enough force. But to get to the top of that wave, you would have to paddle even harder. But if you don't,
I don't get it. I don't get why if this is a result of density and buoyancy, and my density and buoyancy doesn't change from. Remember, this is just a gentle slope we're talking about. It's not a mountain, just a small ramp. Okay,
Relative.
It's a 10-foot ramp with a 6-inch rise in it at one end. Okay. Now,
So you're more
one direction requires me to apply a force. The other direction, I don't have to apply any force. So why is that?
It's because you're going up in elevation. Relative density states that it wants to bring you down because you're more dense than the medium you're in. So you want to go down. So to go up, you're going to have to work at it. You go down easy, relative density will take you down, all the way down.
All right. So you're doing the whole up and down.
If you want to go up, you're fighting against relative density.
So it's up and down in nature is what you're giving me, is it? Is that what you're basically saying?
I would have said there's no real direction. It's all due to density, which left, right, up, down, any which way.
How come, like, when you lay down on the ground, it's not, and when you stand back up, it's not like Velcro? So it's almost like ripping Velcro off as you step off the earth.
Why would it be?
You're not wearing Velcro?
I'm Mike, bro. I'm Mike.
Don't ever call Jeremy a retard again. He brought sense to that discussion. That was brilliant.
Jeremy's an absolute retard.
I thought that's where we'd go, but Chemo didn't get there at all, did he? So he was floundering.
Well, you're asking about the top and the bottom, and I'm saying it's the same. You are in disequilibrium. So you're always going to go.
Really?
You're always going to go back down until you find equilibrium.
So you come to rest at disequilibrium at the bottom. Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, until you, the object, finds equilibrium, will always won't be still.
So since you're at disequilibrium at the bottom of the hill, you will just like go up the hill to find your equilibrium.
You will go up if there is a medium change.
It's a medium change.
A medium change.
So let's say we change. Let's say we
No,
feel that.
chemo.
Let's say we feel
Yeah,
that.
I thought you might want to butt in here, Jeremy.
Chemo, it's real simple. Listen, it's real simple. If an object's more dense than the medium it's in, it goes down. This is what we observe. This is the science.
No, hold on. Stop.
If it's less-
Stop. So Jem said, I can go up the hill using a force, but I go down without the force. Well, I'm explaining you can go up the hill, Jem, without the force. Also, by just changing the medium.
Oh, really? Would I?
Medium change.
Yes, that's why it's relative density disequilibrium. So if you're at the bottom of the hill and we fill that area with a different medium, you will start to rise.
I'll get sucked up the hill, will I?
Depending on where, if we concentrate the density in that direction, yes, you will go in exactly the direction we throw you in, yes.
Wow.
That's true. Good point, Chemo. Good point.
So if we make it more dense in that direction and less dense everywhere else, and we can control that, yeah, and then you would just go straight up the slope. Control the density.
Chemo.
Yeah.
Chemo, is hot air less dense than cold air?
So hot air is more dense, yes? Cold is more dense, sorry. Cold is more dense.
Yeah, cold is... Okay, so if I have air that's hotter above an object than below it, then that object should rise, because the less dense air is above it, right?
It's relative, depending on the
That's
object.
true.
Depends on the object. It's relative. And
What do you mean it's relative?
relative density disequilibrium.
They don't get it, Chemo. It's going
less
to take
above.
fucking 4 years for them to get this.
That's why we're
At
here.
least.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, because
That's
it's
why we're
4
here.
years.
bollocks,
No,
Jeremy.
Chemo doesn't get this.
Bollocks. Even 4 years won't be enough.
Disequilibrium,
nonsense.
relative density. So it's either the
Chemo.
object.
Chemo,
Mhm.
is the atmosphere in a gradient because we have a dynamic system?
I don't go with the gradient. But that's what I was meant to say to Jeremy. If he wants to argue the gradient, that's fine. But I don't suppose.
Let's say
there is a
Chemo.
gradient,
Chemo, I have
pressure
a...
gradient. Where does the pressure come from? You get what I'm saying? So unless we can explain where the pressure gradient's from, how can there be a pressure gradient? So carry on.
Yeah, gas pressure is X. The gradient is delta X. You know, you got to have X before you can get delta
Oh
X.
God, shut the fuck up.
Well,
I
again,
noticed they were doing that in 24/7 the other day. That's it. Why? Why is that? You can't
Because you can't have
you've got
gas
that-
pressure gradients without gas pressure.
well, again, Jeremy.
Yeah, and
Okay, but
gas
we have
pressure everywhere.
but we have a gas pressure gradient, right? Or do you dispute that? I can't remember. I know you do, Chemo, but
No, but what I want to say to
Jeremy.
Jeremy, though, Jeremy, are you saying then if the atmosphere gets thinner and thinner and thinner, does it go to space?
It's very...
basically their
Yeah, you
argument was you can pretend that there isn't a gradient if the person that you're talking to can't prove that there's gas pressure. That's the argument. Brilliant.
I mean, if gas pressure is defined as force exerted to the walls of the container, and we don't see a container, then we don't have gas pressure with that definition on Earth. We have atmospheric pressure.
Atmospheric pressure, yeah. But even with atmospheric pressure,
Yeah,
you,
it's
need,
different.
you need gravity. So,
Yeah, sure, and we have gravity, so that's...
So you're
evident.
saying we're not... Hold on. The Globers are saying this isn't gas pressure that's all around us?
Well, if there is no container...
there's
for
no
the
gas
gas
pressure.
You're a
They
gas
agree.
pressure denier? You
Yes.
guys are gas pressure deniers? I didn't know that.
No, Jeremy,
That's
Jeremy,
weird.
Jeremy.
No, Jeremy,
Jeremy.
they're saying there's no
You're a
pressure.
gas pressure...
No. Hold
Jeremy.
on. They're saying there's gas, but no pressure.
No.
Are you a
that's
gas?
not
Hold
what
on,
I'm saying.
Jeremy. Are you a gas pressure denier?
You guys are, though.
Oh, I thought you were.
Pressure on Earth. Mole Man saying there's not.
Right,
Oh,
right, okay.
Jeremy.
So
What's
there
the
is a gas.
definition
There's
of
a pressure gradient, then, isn't there?
Deal with the X before we deal with the delta X.
Well, we just had. You've just agreed. You've just agreed on the X, so we can move on to the delta X now, right?
We got the container walls. Walls at.
What are you talking
about? The surface of the Earth.
Gas pressure is the force applied by the gas on the
walls
of its container.
Oh, so now you're denying gas pressure because you just agreed.
No, you're denying gas pressure.
No, I asked you, and you said you weren't denying gas pressure. Now you are.
You have gas pressure on Earth.
You were calling us. You were going. Are you gas pressure deniers, you guys? So I said no. You're a gas pressure denier, and you said no. So, are we agreed that there is gas pressure?
Yeah, there's gas pressure now. Where's the walls of your container?
Right. So now we don't have to worry about that.
No,
are we
Jem.
agreed now? Are we agreed now that there's a gas pressure gradient?
Jem, you got to understand. Hold on.
It doesn't matter. We're not talking about the walls of the container. We're talking about if there's a pressure gradient.
Let me ask you though, Jem. Are you saying that?
And you won't accept that there's a pressure gradient until I proved that there's gas pressure. But you've just fucked up and agreed that there's gas pressure. So now we don't. No. I don't need to establish that, do I? And you can admit that there is a pressure gradient, can't you?
There's gas pressure. Hold on. There's gas pressure.
Jeremy denies that there's Earth.
That's that bubonic chronic.
Goodness me, Jeremy.
There's gas pressure.
I'm still talking about flat Earth.
There's gas pressure. Need to figure out where the container walls are, Jem, and then we can move on to the gradient.
Why? Hold on a minute. Hang on a minute. You said in order to talk about the gradient, we needed to establish that there was gas pressure.
Right.
You then agreed that there's gas pressure, and now you're saying in order to talk about the gradient, we need to establish that there's a container. What? Why have you changed it?
Well, gas pressure is the force exerted on the walls of its container by the gas. So we're going to need to know where this wall is.
Oh, so why? Why do we? How is that?
Look, let me explain. Because
all I'm trying to do is establish that we both agreed that there's a pressure gradient.
No, you're saying atmospheric pressure, not gas pressure. Atmospheric pressure requires...
Just say pressure gradient in the atmosphere. That's all right.
So you found the egg, Jem. Now you got to look for the chicken. Because since there's an egg,
everyone's jumping in to save Jeremy because they know he fucked up.
No, you fucked up.
I didn't fuck up.
Yes, you did.
I didn't fuck up at all. We got gas pressure.
You were calling people out in this room out for being, as you put it, gas pressure deniers. And then in the next sentence, you admitted that there's such a thing as gas pressure. And but you weren't prepared to talk about pressure gradients until we'd established there's a gas pressure. Then once you'd realised that you'd agreed to it, and we can now talk about gas pressure, about pressure gradients, you said now we can't talk about pressure gradients because we need to establish that there's a container.
Where did you get the gas?
Why? Why did we?
You still need a container, bro. No matter how you
That's just your daft assertion.
No, show us gas pressure without a container somewhere. Go.
Doesn't matter. Why? What for?
It doesn't matter.
Because
of course it
does. Jeremy and I have agreed that there is gas pressure. He said it, so I haven't got to establish it.
We've agreed it. Hold on, Jem.
And it's obvious to all of us anyway, but he's agreed.
So now Jeremy is denying gas pressure because he wants to see the container
gas pressure,
for it to exist.
You guys won't let me talk, so I don't know.
Well, are you denying gas pressure or not?
Are you done monologuing, or are you going to go again?
No, I'm just asking you a question. Are you denying gas pressure, yes or no?
We have gas pressure. Now we just need to figure out where the walls are of the container.
Why? Why?
Because you can't have gas pressure without a container.
Well, but we do have gas pressure, so
it doesn't exist without a container.
According to you and Quantum Eraser and all your gang, you can make the logical inference that there's a container. So why do we need to now establish that there is one before we can talk about?
It's not a logical inference. You can't have gas pressure without a container. If you can, let's see it.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, so...
It's not a logical inference. You can't have gas pressure without a container, and you've agreed there is gas pressure. So how is that? How would you not? If you're making the statement, you can't have gas pressure without a container, and you're saying we do have gas pressure, then you're saying we do have a container, right?
Guess he just doesn't want to talk about the gradient.
Desperate not to talk about the gradient, isn't it?
Hello, is my mic on?
Yes.
Have the container.
What?
To have a container for gas pressure.
Why? Why do you?
So you keep telling us, but so what?
Telling us that we don't need one, and I'm telling you that shit doesn't exist.
I didn't say
prove
that you
it
didn't.
because I'm saying it doesn't exist.
I did say that.
If you're saying it does exist.
All I'm trying to establish, Jeremy, is that there's a pressure gradient, not that there's a container. I don't care about the container. That's your assertion, and you need to establish that that's true. I don't.
No. You need to establish it's true
Yes,
for something
yeah,
that I'm saying. Hold on a second.
Okay, so you are a pressure. You're a gas pressure
Hold on a
denier
second,
then.
Jem.
You're denying gas pressure, even though you were taking the piss out of everyone here for doing it.
Jem,
Is
you're
that
not
right?
letting him talk, bro.
Well, it's because he's fucking wriggling around and being dishonest. Go ahead.
I'm telling you that it doesn't exist. Prove this shit that doesn't exist.
What? Look,
Gas
I
pressure
don't.
without a container.
So I've got to prove something
It doesn't
exist.
You're
I've got
saying
to prove
that it doesn't exist.
I've got to
prove Santa
prove
Claus
some-
doesn't exist.
What? Right, you're arguing against yourself.
People
You're
sitting around. Real quick.
You're
People are
arguing
sitting
against
around.
yourself now. You're telling me
Hold
I've
on.
got to. You're telling me I've
People are
got to
sitting
prove. Why are you talking every time? You're telling me I've got to prove something doesn't exist. I don't care about your container. You can assert there is a container all you like. There isn't, but I don't care. All I want to do is get you to agree that there is a pressure gradient. And you said, and your condition for being able to even discuss that was that we had to prove there was gas pressure. You then agreed there was gas pressure.
We need to find the walls, though.
So according to your rule, we can now talk about how there is a pressure gradient, right?
Wrong. Let's say
Okay,
you're walking
why-
down the street,
not
Jem, and you
USC,
find an egg.
let Jeremy
Let's do
answer.
this. 1 second.
No.
Let's say you're
Jeremy
walking
answer.
down the street and you find an egg.
No, shut up. Let Jeremy answer.
Oh, okay.
What
Go
was
ahead,
the question?
Jeremy.
What was the question? I didn't know.
We can now talk. We can, since we've both agreed that there is gas pressure, we can now talk about the pressure gradient. That was what you said, right?
As soon as we find the walls.
Why?
You
Why
got
do we
walls.
need to find the walls?
You got to have walls for gas pressure.
Okay. Do we agree that there is gas pressure?
Yes. So you
Okay,
agree there's walls.
Okay.
Do we
so
agree
there's
there's
gas
walls
pressure.
to a container?
There's gas pressure. You said
container
once
walls.
we've established there's gas pressure, that now we can talk.
Hold
Then
on,
we can
Jem.
talk about pressure gradients. You said you can't talk about delta X until you prove delta. We've agreed delta.
container.
No need for anyone to prove it. It's not in dispute. So now we can talk about delta X, right? Go on, say. We've got to establish
Hold
it
on,
in the
Jem,
container.
let me
Go on,
answer.
say that stupid shit again, you dishonest cunt.
You're talking nonsense, Jem. It's like saying, look, we both agree that the sun is there, but now we know what it is. That's nonsense.
Since we both hold on.
It's his rule. It's his rule. He said we can't talk about pressure gradients until you prove this pressure. He's agreed that this pressure, there's no need for it to be proved because it's not in dispute. We both agree there is pressure. Now he won't talk about pressure gradients because apparently we've got to prove that the container that we say doesn't exist, we've got to prove that this container does exist.
Monologue. I can't get my answer out. He's funding.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
my
you
microphone-
dishonest fuck.
Is my microphone low?
Yes.
I'll be right back.
Yes, go away.
No, your mic's fine, Jeremy. Go on.
Yeah, Jeremy, if you give like not great answers, that's what you're gonna get in return.
Well, Jeremy, up, he knows he has because where he fucked up was, oh, you guys are pressure deniers, the gas pressure
All right,
deniers.
he's
are
still
you?
monologuing. Come on,
that's
Sam.
where he fucked up.
Okay,
Go ahead.
since we both agree there's gas pressure, we now both agree there's a container. Since you can't have.
No, we don't.
Well, that's where we're stopped at.
Jeremy, show me the walls
That's
to
where we're
apply.
I don't care. I don't care. All that was required
Gradient
for
right
us.
after you admit. Jem, can I have a couple sentences?
Go ahead.
please?
Go ahead.
Jesus Christ, you monologue all fucking day. Since we both agree there's gas pressure, we also both agree there's a container wall since you can't have gas pressure without them.
No, we don't. We do not
Well,
agree
that's where
with
you
that.
fucked up, and we're
Right,
at a
I didn't fuck up. We do not agree with that. All we agreed to, well, that we both agreed there was gas pressure. You assert that there has to be a container. I disagree with that statement. I think that that's bollocks. But that is not in contention at the moment. The next step in our conversation that you laid out at the beginning was that we can now talk about gas pressure. Containers were not mentioned.
You can't have the gas pressure without it. It's
Well, that's a lovely. It's a lovely.
It's not an assertion. It's a fact.
Lovely one of your 10 commandments that you keep tripping out as if it means something, but it doesn't mean anything. If you think that that's true, establish it to be true.
It already has been.
So let me get this straight. I'm telling you the thing. You
don't know how gas behaves when it's not in the container, do you? You have no experience of it in your worldview.
So I didn't even listen to the last thing you said because I was focused on what I was going to say, and I think I
all right, sorry, go ahead.
Super chat. This is from C4.
Jesus Christ.
Hold on, Jeremy.
Let him answer.
All right, go ahead.
I am being a bit shouty.
Clouds have no walls.
It's a classic shifting of the
Read the
goalpost.
super chat. C4 is cool.
Well, I'm going to read the super chat.
Please provide a citation that we cannot have gas pressure without a container. Thank you. Good point.
Yeah, we'll go straight back to the... Oh, yeah, is that what he said? Yeah. He said, Jeremy, please provide... Jeremy, please provide a citation that we cannot, with big letters, cannot have gas pressure without a container. Thank you. That's the $5. I mean, Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead before
Okay. We all know gas fills the volume of its container, and that if there is no container, it just spreads out everywhere. So if you need a citation, I can get you like 50 of them probably. It'll take me a while, but...
You don't have any experience of gas that is not contained.
You can give one evidence.
You don't have any experience. What? Tell me when you've seen uncontained gas.
Never. That's the
right. There you go. So how do you know how it behaves when it's not contained?
It can't be contained. When it's not contained, it just goes everywhere. What do you mean?
How do you know that? You don't know that. You've never experienced.
That's entropy.
When? You've just said you've never experienced. You've never experienced gas without a. You've never experienced gas without a container, have you?
It's literally a law of nature.
It's not.
Have you experienced gas without a container, Jeremy?
Because it goes everywhere once you remove the container.
How do you know?
It's a fucking natural law, entropy.
Have you verified that law?
But you've never experienced gas without a container. All the gas you've ever experienced has been in a container, according to you, right?
I've never experienced Santa Claus either, and I don't think he's real either. Neither is this gas pressure without a container thing.
So you don't think to do with the price of cheese?
Jeremy, what about
means,
the fact is you don't know. You don't know how gas behaves without a container because all the gas you ever experience is contained in your worldview.
Making a real quick analogy. I say Santa Claus doesn't exist. You say Santa Claus does exist. Claus does exist.
That's different,
and
Jeremy.
we argue back and forth. Hold on a second. Jem thinks Santa Claus exists, aka gas pressure without a container. I say it doesn't exist.
Gas is real.
I say it doesn't exist. Jem tells me, prove Santa doesn't exist. Now, how do I go about doing that?
I'm not
proving Santa doesn't exist.
I'm not asking you to prove. I'm not asking you to prove anything doesn't exist. You asked me to do that. I haven't said that. All I want to do is talk about the gas pressure gradient. That's it.
Well, let's turn that around on you, Jem. So Jeremy claims that there's a container that holds all of the air on Earth in. So where is this container, Jeremy, that no one has ever seen, felt, touched, or taken a photograph of leaning up against it? Where is it? How come no one ever has ever seen this dome or the firmament or the rakia or whatever the fuck you guys want to call it? Where is it? Why do we have no pictures of it whatsoever?
Yeah,
I deny this container. I say this container's not real. I've falsified it.
Where's the wall of the container holding in the clouds?
My point is, if that container exists, then all the gas that he ever comes across is contained somewhere along the line. So
know.
this wasn't.
Container.
So he isn't able.
We
He
know.
isn't able to talk about how it will behave if it's uncontained because it's
Okay.
uncontained.
Well, hang on.
The point I was trying to make with that is,
times
so in this case, well, hang on. In this case, Santa Claus would be this dome or the firmament or whatever. Jeremy is the one that's claiming Santa Claus exists, and we're the ones that telling him it doesn't.
No,
so
back to
again,
the pressure.
Jeremy,
Back to the pressure.
where's your proof?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't finished, Chemo.
Come on, don't
Where is
derail
your
that.
evidence?
I
Where
want to
is
say
your
thank you very
proof
much
for Santa Claus.
Yeah, sorry.
Look, Jeremy, I did say you're going to have these problems about explaining where the walls are and the container, this kind of thing. Now, they want to know if this atmosphere is pressurized, where is the walls of the container?
Chemo, if I show you a
Foolish,
Sorry,
hold your
Brad.
horses, foolish. Go ahead, Jeremy.
if I show you a chicken wing, right? You don't need to know. You need to see the chicken. You know there was a chicken.
You know what? Sorry,
But Jeremy, we don't see any evidence ever of the chicken existing in the first place.
see the chicken eggs
where's the firmament, Jeremy? How come
Why
no
don't
one has
you-
ever touched the fucking thing?
Why
You
don't
got
you
chicken
apply
eggs
that
up.
rule? Why don't you apply that rule to the gas pressure gradient, then, Jeremy? We know there's a pressure or an atmospheric pressure gradient. Therefore, we know there's atmospheric pressure, right?
And gravity.
No, you're walking down the street
What's
and you
atmospheric
find
pressure?
a chicken egg. You find an egg, right?
That we
You're
what we
walking down,
experience
there's
here
an egg in
underground.
front of your feet. Now, can you deduce from that there's a chicken or a lizard that laid that egg?
Oh, I mean,
The point is,
hold on.
chickens are
Essie,
different
let
than
me
gas
ask you.
pressure.
Answer the question, please.
No, Essie, look.
No, wow, that's just so relevant.
Essie, look, because you're a flat earther, and you know you've been arguing for the. So I mean, again, in terms of the walls, where would you suppose? Like, we look up, we see a black sky at night. Where explain to the ball earthers where this wall is, or how it works, or something like this.
I mean,
Right.
maybe you
Hold
go
on,
up.
hold
I would be trying to go horizontal, not up, because who
You
knows
got this
about up
backwards,
horizontal.
Chemo. You got this backwards, right?
Okay.
We see an egg, right? Now, no matter what you say, something has to have laid that egg, right?
Okay.
Unless
So
it's
we
an
see
Easter egg.
pressure, right? We see pressure. Now we know pressure is defined as pounds per square inch, right?
Pressure's the egg. Pressure's the egg.
Yeah, so we know there has to be containment there, because if our world is spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, hurling through space at 1.5 million miles an hour, there has to be containment for said atmosphere.
Oh,
That
Why?
makes
no,
sense.
you have the area, which is the surface
Why does
of
there
the
have to
Earth.
be contained?
Can I jump into this? Wasn't the original argument. The original argument was that how can a pressurized system exist in a vacuum? That was the original argument.
Well,
it has nothing
yeah,
to do with
Chemo
containment.
gave us one potential answer for this, and as we know, space is less dense than the atmosphere. The atmosphere is less dense than the water. The water is less dense than the Earth. So merely density equilibrium is holding the atmosphere to Earth.
Let me put it to you this way. If you climb up high, right, you won't be able to breathe. You will die, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now picture that. Now picture your globe with all these gases, right? Hurling through space at 1.5 million miles an hour. How does this stuff get contained? What contains
Density
it?
equilibrium, I
With
think.
gravity. Obviously
Do you
gravity.
deny density equilibrium?
That's not the point. Listen to
that's
what I
part
just
of- that
said.
seems to be part
You
of the
have a
flat Earth
ball
model,
surrounded
and I'm
by
employing
gas in a
the
vacuum
answer-
of
the
space
answer-
hurling
the
at
answer is
millions of
gravity.
miles an hour.
Subtlety.
That doesn't work, bro.
But Scott,
Why
I'm trying
doesn't
to
it work?
I'm trying to understand under density equilibrium. Density equilibrium seems to say that the atmosphere will stick to the
it's
Earth because
dumb.
it's less dense than the space.
It doesn't
So
work.
under their
you know
model,
Or
we
dense.
don't even
Or
have a
dense.
problem
You know it
with
doesn't work.
gas
then.
pressure.
It won't work in all cases. It doesn't account for direction. You know those things. It's gravity. There's a simple answer to this.
Oh, I
It's
know
gravity.
that.
Gravity is
I mean, I
Which
agree with you.
gravity?
And
Which gravity?
gravity exists.
Which
Oh,
gravity
before
does
we
it?
get into that, we've got another
Newtonian
super
gravity.
chat.
There's only one
We've got
gravity,
another,
you
sorry,
numbskull.
sorry guys, we've got another super chat. We've got another super chat. They pay for the say. Okay, so this is from Rocket Scientist, $5. Jeremy, at Jeremy, you have the subtlety of a brick and the depth of a shot glass. That's from
And let me thank C4 for the other one, because I didn't say thank you for the super chat, C4, and thank you for the super chat, rocket scientist.
Jim,
I like this
Can
new
we-
super
Shouts out
chat
to
trend.
C4
I must
Rocket.
say.
Yeah,
Jim,
I'm telling you,
can
the
we-
reason why is because we're bringing it to the heart of the matter, and people want to
Jim,
understand it.
Jim, can we go back to the first principle? Because you've been around long enough to know that the original argument wasn't for the container.
It was.
Was that nasty
the,
vacuum surrounding your ball? That
What was
black
the
stuff?
original argument?
Yeah, that black stuff there, yeah.
The original
I have a-
argument was, how can Earth's atmosphere exist within the vacuum of the
Gravity.
space, the universe?
Gravity.
Everything
And
is
then-
gravity,
and-
bro. Everything is gravity.
A lot of things are.
That's a dumb statement. Not everything's gravity. That's a stupid thing to say.
Well,
Excellent.
whatever is
Good on
not
you,
gravity is refraction. Your two
I
magic
asked
words:
Jeremy a
gravity,
question, so-
refraction, gravity, refraction.
We'll get to it, but just one last point. Gravity never explained how it does it.
Yeah, it does.
No,
They don't even know which gravity, Merlin.
What do you mean? There's
I
only
told you
one
to
kind
tell
of
me.
gravity.
There's
So
only
how-
ever
how
been one
does-
kind of gravity.
How does gravity
We have
do
two
it?
specific descriptions of gravity that we rely upon, okay? Einstein and Newton. Not the only ones, but the ones that we rely on, okay? So
in this case,
But-
Newtonian is the perfect descriptor.
right.
So
But-
we're gonna choose
but
Newtonian.
the point
for
is,
this
these
one.
people,
got it.
both of
The
these people
100-year-old
lived.
outdated one. Got
Both
it.
of these people lived on Earth. They only experienced one gravity, and they described what they were experiencing. There aren't two, so we aren't required to choose one.
We only experience relative density. That's all you
Oh,
experience.
Jeremy,
Well,
I have a
things that
question
are more
because
dense
you said
go
that I'm a
down.
gas pressure denier.
That's just wrong,
Is that-
Jeremy.
We
Yeah,
say-
Jeremy,
It
you
violates
said that
the
I'm
law
a.
of motion, for fuck's sake.
The reason why he
Veach, you gotta
denies
get
the
the
gas.
regular shape. Hold on. Veach, you gotta get the regular shaped AirPods, not the Pros, bro.
I have the regular shaped AirPods. They're the AirPods
Why do you?
Pro.
Why do you still
I
sound
don't
like
know,
shit?
because you haven't fixed it, dude.
So, Jem,
It
you don't know
sounds
the
alright,
difference
actually.
between Newtonian and Einsteinian?
I had a
Yeah.
One
question
is
for Jeremy.
instant and one
It's
is
just a little bit
relative.
low, but he sounds
You don't
alright.
know that fundamental, simple difference between
It doesn't
the two
matter.
gravities, Jem.
It's irrelevant when we're talking about what we experience here on Earth.
Right.
Well, it just
Jeremy.
is.
Jeremy,
What's up, Mo man?
do you think that Earth exists?
Look, you're
So,
being
Jem,
silly
we're-
now.
stupid
stop for-
question. So, Jem,
Guys.
which one are we using here? The
Come on.
instant gravity or the relative gravity?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Which
Yes.
one are we using?
We
It doesn't
used
matter.
to-
It doesn't matter. They
That's
both
gravity.
result in the same thing happening. Why are you making us choose?
I'm sorry.
Because I'm showing you the folly in your thoughts.
I think Scott
Where
is
we
No folly
describe
there.
it doesn't
They-
make a difference
let,
to
let
it.
me let me put it plainly. They both result in the same thing happening. Why are you
How?
making us choose?
Incorrect.
How,
One is
Paul?
instantaneous, which would hold your gas instantly.
I didn't
and the
say
other one
that.
is
I said
relative.
I said they both. I
Relative.
said, listen, SE. I said they both result in the same thing happening.
Only
And
in
can
your
we ask
mathematical
Paul-
book, not in reality. One is
All right,
instant and one is
okay.
relative. Do you
Hello,
know the difference between
Gentlemen,
those two?
I would like to just interrupt 1 second because Scott really derailed the fuck out of this conversation. Mr. Veach, dress or foolish actually clearly defined how density equilibrium supplants or can be a alternative to gravity. So it's just as a mind experiment. You could have the vacuum of space and
No.
atmosphere next to
Yeah,
each other.
only in your mind.
It doesn't
correct.
work. It
Only
doesn't
in your
work on
mind
a.
can you do this.
That doesn't work on a
density
globe.
not organized?
Hello. That does not work on a globe, though. So if you admit it's relative
Oh,
density,
well,
Oh, it does though.
why
no,
not?
it doesn't
Then
work.
we
Why
go
not?
to the center of the Earth.
Because they've got an up and down in nature. Don't forget. Well, I guess it could still be.
Maybe
the
it
center of
could
the
work
Earth.
on a globe,
The up and
but
down still work. Yes. So we,
maybe it could work on a
gravity,
globe, but
we could
it's not a
use
globe.
your
So.
retardation and still get to the same point.
Yeah, maybe it could work on a globe, but it's not a globe. So
That doesn't
you now
matter.
have to prove it's. Now we're on to proving it's a globe.
Well, that's what we're trying to determine.
Like,
but we've now determined that atmosphere could exist on a globe or a flat Earth. So no problem.
Well, again, I think
Jeremy, you're
I
going
think
back to a position of I don't know, which
No,
is
no,
fair
no.
enough. I don't mind that, but you can't say it's not a globe or it is flat.
I think we're missing the point, Jeremy, again, because their atmosphere has a downward bias, which is gravity, which is giving the pressure, which is pulling the atmosphere
right,
down.
and yours is density.
So the gas pressure you're talking about, Jeremy, has walls of a container. When you talk about atmospheric pressure and gas pressure, they're completely two different things. That's what
Here's the bottom line deal. That it's not that we're arguing that density is the correct answer. The point of this is they're screwed by their own explanation.
Exactly.
And that's
you're
what
screwed.
people are
you have
missing.
an egg without a
Right.
chicken.
No.
You're screwed,
No.
not us.
Oh,
No.
well, Essie, can I
There
ask you a question?
Go
Do
for
you
it.
think that Earth exists?
Oh my God! Please
Just
move
tell
on.
me. Do you think that exists?
Make your
Does it
point
exist?
then, Moleman, in this instance.
Yeah,
Make your
Earth
point.
exists. Yes, we all think Earth
Okay,
exists. Everyone in this whole room.
Okay. And
Everyone
Earth
on
is
Earth.
defined as a planet, so welcome to the planet Earth.
got
Good
it.
one.
Wow, you should write a book, bro. That was.
I like that.
Oh,
That was
that's like your
short and
gas
sweet.
pressure. It's like your
Well,
gas pressure.
Well, how much? Let's slug M. Scott Veach or Paul Voigt for the how.
What do you mean the how? How what?
How do you
How-
sound so shitty? My bad, Merle. Go ahead.
Because you haven't fixed
How-
it, both of you.
How does gravity keep the atmosphere contained to the spinning Earth while orbiting around the sun in the vacuum of space?
Yes,
Well-
yes. Please do tell.
Yeah, well, the spinning around the sun and the vacuum of space aren't particularly relevant. They don't cause any problems for what gravity does.
Okay.
The underlying deep mechanisms of gravity, like what's underneath gravity, like what's really happening on the very minute level, we're not entirely sure. That's a mystery of science. Like one of the sort of cutting edge areas that people are working on. So the how of it is tricky. And I guess I don't want to.
Well,
hold on. Let me just respond to one thing.
We just observe that it exists. We observe what it does, and by observing what it does and that it exists, we're able to recognize that this is why things like the air stay on Earth and have pressure.
No, you don't. You never observe a gas molecule just turning around without hitting a container wall.
We observe things falling and moving.
Yeah, but show me a gas molecule.
Hold on, Jeremy. Just relax, dude. We observe orbits that match the Newtonian description of gravity. We observe all kinds of things that all confirm the same general idea.
We don't see a gas molecule just turning around.
Well, we don't know that. We never see it hit a wall. We never.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. That shit I just said. Like gas molecules don't just stop and turn around in the opposite
Of course
direction.
they do. A ball, just like a ball. Throw a ball up to the air. What does it do? So it turns around.
Claiming that
Anything that's fighting gravity is going to stop and turn around. It's a given.
You
Why
have
do
never
think gas
seen a
molecules
gas
would be any different.
except for maybe the ground.
Unless it has
if you
enough
throw
energy
a
to escape.
baseball up and it does that, why do you think a gravity molecule would be any different?
we have gas that escapes, Jeremy. That's known. And unless
Well,
the
that's
gas
a different
molecules
topic.
themselves reach escape velocity up near the atmosphere's edge, or the demarcation line that we call the edge of the atmosphere, until it does that and escape velocity is reached, it'll stay to Earth.
That's
That's
claim
another
that.
fantasy. 25,000
Yeah, you're
mile
thinking
an hour
gas.
escape velocity.
You think gas molecules just stop for some reason and turn around? That's
Well,
ridiculous.
listen, Jimmy.
Some
when
of
you
them,
throw a ball,
Jeremy.
when you-
Some of
hold on,
them,
Ed,
they
just
stop
hold
at
on, Ed.
the Harmon line
Let
bar
me
and grill.
answer
They
the
have
question.
two shots
back
and
Jeremy,
return.
Jeremy, when you throw a baseball into the air, it'll stop and turn around. Now, why do you think a gas molecule will be different?
So how does the ones that escape
Hold
go
on,
up?
Effie, I'm asking
What's the
Jeremy a
difference with the
question.
ones
Hey,
that
Effie,
escape,
I'm
Scott?
asking Jeremy a question, so just relax.
Your mic is
Jeremy,
terrible there.
yeah,
Because
Okay, but
because
what's the
baseballs don't because baseballs don't expand to fill the volume of the container. Gas does. Gas doesn't
What does that
just
have to do
turn.
with turning around, though? What does that have to do with gravity acting on it?
Because it's a gas, it doesn't act. It doesn't do that. What the baseball does. It's
Well,
a whole
why not?
different.
You're just asserting it randomly.
And Jeremy's wrong again.
Well, actually,
If you think
baseball.
about it, there's no reason to think that.
Okay, if I have a
Everything-
room full of
everything we think of,
baseballs, they're
everything
not
you can
going to
throw
fill
into
the
the air-
volume of the room.
Everything you can throw into the
They
air
do
is going
turn
to do the
around.
exact same thing. Every piece of matter you can find. And so somehow you magically think that this other piece of matter, this very tiny one, you think some reason it won't do the same thing as everything else. That's sort of illogical.
Yeah, he thinks there's a downward bias, Jeremy. Gas go boom boom as the saying goes.
Except the ones that escape into the atmosphere. Except the ones that reach 25,000 miles per hour. Except those molecules. The special ones.
Full of baseballs. You're going to just lay on the floor and not do it. Is my mic low?
Your argument
Is my mic
now
low?
are simply, I don't believe it can happen. That's the.
Okay, I have a room full of. It's not that I don't believe it can't happen. You can't observe this happening. Beach said this is what we observe. Beach said this is what we observe. Gas turning around.
There is ionized gas.
Can I hold on a second?
In a vacuum being contained. So there you go. There's contained gas without a physical container in a fucking vacuum.
You're interrupting what he was saying. Come on.
Is that how the Earth works, Druss?
So what do you know, I see. Jeremy, go ahead.
Was your question how it works on the Earth, or that it's possible? Because you guys climb up and
maybe
down about
later, Beach. Later.
Guys, you guys are all interrupting Jeremy. Let him.
It's fine. No, it's been so crazy.
Let him go.
Go ahead. Just go ahead. The room full. You have a room full of baseballs. It doesn't fill the volume of the room where the gas does. Bad analogy.
It does if you add enough energy.
Bad analogy. We don't observe the gas. We don't observe the baseball doing what the gas does.
Baseball with. There's a lot of differences between them, but they're also there's also something that's very much the same, which is they're made of matter, and everything made of matter is acted upon on gravity. And it's not just baseballs. You pick anything, we throw into the air, and it's gonna eventually slow down and come back down.
It also does. Baseballs will fill a container. Usually, it's got to add enough energy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Jeremy, the container isn't full of air because you can always add more air, and it's not like
the gas conforms.
Gradient, so
the gas conforms
not
to the
filling
shape of. The gas conforms to the shape of its
And
container. The baseballs
those
don't.
molecules are just bouncing off of each other, bouncing off the walls, bouncing around.
Off the ceiling, otherwise they'll keep going in the same direction.
They'll keep going.
The gas will keep going in a direction
until they slow down and
it hits
turn
a
around.
wall. Until it hits a wall.
Or a containment
It won't go
point.
up.
Jeremy,
Nothing goes
Jeremy.
up indefinitely, dude. Gravity's acting on
Yeah,
everything.
Jeremy.
It's
Just
just
turn
like you
around,
jumping. It's just like you trying to fly. It's just like anything. Anything that goes up, it's going to be pulled back down by gravity.
Yeah, Jeremy, if I blow from UK, the air that I blew out from my mouth doesn't reach USA.
How do you know?
Okay, that was helpful.
Oh yeah, how do I know? Yeah. True.
Paul.
Got me there.
Paul, are you here,
Yeah,
Paul?
it doesn't travel forever. It needs energy.
How would you say gravity keeps the atmosphere sort of connected to the Earth?
Well, to lift things, you need to use energy, right?
Yeah.
No one's been able to lift anything without using energy, correct?
Yeah, that's rational.
Yeah. So why would you expect to be able to lift a gas molecule in any way without using some kind of energy? Now, where do you think the energy comes from to lift that gas molecule higher into the atmosphere?
I can't wait to hear this one.
I'm asking you. Where do you
Just
think
give us the answer. Give us the answer.
Where do you think the
I don't know.
energy
Give me
comes-
the answer.
It's kinetic energy, isn't it? Kinetic energy is one form of energy, isn't it? Energy of motion. Okay. So as the molecule rises in the atmosphere, it loses kinetic energy. Energy is used. You have to use energy to lift things. Why wouldn't you expect that to be true?
So you're saying a gas will eventually just fall and hit the ground because it runs out of kinetic energy.
It will.
That's what you're saying. You're saying the gas.
Well, if you let me say what I'm saying instead of jumping in and interrupting me, maybe I could get what I'm saying out and you'd know what I was going to say. Right? Okay. So a gas molecule moving, let's say it's moving perfectly upwards, vertical. All right. It's got a certain amount of kinetic energy. It's going to lose that kinetic energy because we have to use energy to lift things. Things that go higher, you need to use energy to get them higher. We all experience that. Every time we lift up something, we have to use energy. That's just common everyday experience. Why wouldn't that be true of a gas molecule as well? So it loses energy, and the only type of energy it's got to lose is kinetic energy. So it slows down. And yes, it will eventually come back down.
Even in the density model.
Where it gains energy again because the temperature is higher close to the ground. So it gains that energy again and starts moving faster once it gets lower because it interacts with other gas molecules that are also moving fast.
Okay, kinetic
Paul, can I
energy
ask one
is
last question? Can I just ask one last question?
Yeah.
Could that happen without gravity?
Yeah, it works in a density model.
Gravity is the force that we're working against. That's why we have to put energy into things to lift them.
Yeah. But could an air molecule that was raised into the upper atmosphere with kinetic energy, once it, say, equalizes or there's no more momentum being applied to it, once it's sort of released and that molecule then begins to fall, could it be that it just sort of runs out of puff?
It
wouldn't start to fall if there's no gravity.
It would just continue on, conservation of momentum.
Yeah,
An object in motion will stay in motion unless another force is acted upon it.
So
even if you use
is
a
that saying an
density
air
model, it still
molecule or
works.
something doesn't have weight?
You can use helium or hydrogen then to start.
It doesn't have weight if you get rid of gravity.
Go up there themselves. You don't need to use any kinetic fucking violence on it. Nature does it.
I mean, gravity is what gives things weight. So if you say, let's imagine there's no gravity, then it won't have weight.
And even in the density, even if density is still pulling on it, or whatever you call it, if density is seeking its equilibrium, it would work.
Not though.
So Veach, I mean, you have
no, this is their model. I'm just using their model.
But you still have no grounds just to call gravity like it's a thing. You haven't validated it. You haven't experimented. You haven't tested it. And also, it's not. And also, it's not even the current science that gravity is a force. You know this. I know this. We all know this.
Chemo, stop. Why do we have to use energy to lift things up, Chemo?
No, but again, just invoking gravity is not.
I'm not invoking gravity. I'm asking you a question. Why do we have to use energy to lift
look, I
things
just
up?
wanted to call out this idea that gravity from Veach, like he keeps saying gravity, when it hasn't been experimented, it hasn't been tested, it hasn't been validated. It's just an idea.
It has been validated.
Again, just
horseshit.
Again, just calling out, it has been without any experiments.
You're interrupting a conversation.
wrong about that.
What we're waiting for, Veach, is BioDual to perform an experiment in a vacuum showing mass attracts mass.
I don't know what you're waiting for, but I promise you that you're wrong about gravity not being.
No, but I'm just saying, if we're talking in the real world, like really real.
Yeah, we're talking in the real world.
Yeah, so if we're talking,
people validated gravity. It's a real thing.
If we're talking real stuff, real time, real world, right now at this moment, we do not have that you can present Cavendish in a vacuum.
Well, you've just totally wrapped your whistled past my question, so I'm going to ask it again, Chemo. Why do we have to use energy to lift things up?
Well, again, according to the density, I don't know if you want to call it a law or what happens in it. Is there energy that's causing the object to rise when you change the medium?
That didn't answer my question at all. It didn't even remotely address my question. So I'll ask my question again. Why do we need to use energy to lift things up?
You obviously need pressure to make things move.
I still don't think you see the genius of Foolish's argument. Just stop arguing gravity because they're always going to just deny it.
Yeah, you can't invoke gravity if there's no experiment or to.
Yeah, but I can invoke density and buoyancy, and it still fucks you over royally.
Yeah, but
at
least density, you can experiment with it, test it right now.
I mean, these are real world everyday observations. In every situation when we have to lift something up, we need to use energy. Can you think of an example where I don't have to use energy to lift something up?
So gases are not affected by, they just move freely for some reason.
Gases?
No. That's not what I asked. I said, can you give me an example? Can you give me an example of something that I can lift up where I don't have to use energy to lift it up?
No, you specifically, no, not you.
Can you show me gas freely moving through a denser medium?
You need energy, Paul. You need the energy.
So we need energy to lift gas molecules up, right?
No, molecules, like I said, do not require forces and such like to move freely. They just move freely.
So the follow-up question to that,
yes,
Castaway,
that's
is,
what we're saying. There is no
freely.
There is no effect.
You show gas? Sorry, just trying to get a point in. Can you show gas moving through a denser medium in nature?
No, we're dealing with the gases that we observe here that were supposedly under pressure.
Well, they don't move freely then, do they? Because they still seem to be restricted by their density.
No, because that would have been in a container. You would show this, right?
I want to hear what you got to say.
Is a tennis ball made of molecules, Chemo?
Tennis balls are tightly packed molecules which make it too dense, more dense than the medium that it's in.
Oh, and we still need energy to lift those up. So those molecules require energy to lift it up, do they? But the gas molecules apparently are different kind of molecules, and they don't need energy to lift up. So some molecules apparently need energy to lift up, whereas magically, for some unknown reason, other molecules don't need energy to lift up.
There's no magic here. The gas molecules are not affected by this force that you're saying, so they move around without any force that you're saying that is there.
So they violate.
So if there's not,
so you know those swap and go gas cylinders, 8.5 kilograms of gas in them. Is it easier to pick up a full one or an empty one?
What with the gas? Helium or not? The gases will have the container, Paul. Give the pressure.
Is it easier to pick up a full one or an empty one?
Paul, either way, they will have pressure on the walls of the container. That's where the pressure.
So you're just going to ignore the question again. Is it easier to pick up a full one?
Look, we're not in class.
The question.
We're not in class, Paul. We're not in class with your students.
Is it easier to lift the full?
It's not a pop quiz. I think that's what.
Just try and answer it.
Look, we were talking about the gases.
It's a straight up question. It's a straight up question with an easy answer, Chemo.
Paul, just get to the point.
You are on frequency. Someone's talking about frequency and water and shit. Check out this video I posted. Fucking completely changes the flow of water while adding frequency to it.
Paul, can we just make the point instead of trying to no.
Well, the point is that those gas molecules obviously are affected by something, aren't they?
Well, yeah, the walls of the container.
Well, they're obviously affected by something else because it's harder to lift up the container when it's full, right?
Because it's creating a pressure, yeah.
Pressure is equal all around, though, isn't it? How would that make a downwards force?
It's not making a down. There is no downward bias.
Well, then why is it hard to lift up when it's full?
Because it's more dense.
Also, when you pick it up, Chemo, you can shake it and you can feel the gas in the bottom of the container. And it's quite obviously at the bottom of the... So why is it at the bottom of the container instead of willy-nilly floating around on the inside of it?
Because it's more like a liquid form now at the bottom.
So why is it at the bottom of the container then?
It's more dense.
But why all of a sudden?
It's more dense than the medium.
But why is it... But why?
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, clearly clearly, Chemo, it's a stupid argument to say that gas molecules don't
the liquid will sit at the bottom.
I'll start again then. Clearly, it's a stupid argument to say that gas molecules don't have weight in some situations, but they do have weight in other circumstances. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
No, the liquid form has the weight. The gases that are moving around there have no weight. You're not weighing that.
That's just,
but they're the same molecules. They're exactly the same molecules. Nothing's changed.
No, because now you've pressurized it.
But they're the same molecules. Nothing's changed about the molecules.
No, once you pressurize
the molecules. They're pressurized in both cases.
Listen, that sloshing around that Cypher just described cannot happen outside of the container.
Exactly. It makes no sense. There's just no molecules
exactly.
You
understand the word sloshing? You understand the word slosh?
There's no Hey, Chemo, hold on. There's no molecules that can violate the laws of motion. There's no molecules that somehow avoid being acted upon like every other molecule. There's not a special case for these gas molecules, despite you asserting it.
Right, that sloshing around that Cypher described cannot happen outside of the container. That's the pressurized gas.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, show me gases sloshing around outside the container. Exactly.
If I pour sulfur hexafluoride at different rates as it goes onto the floor, it'll form waves. It'll slush.
You just need a heavy gas.
Yep.
Oh, no, let's see it.
If I take enough energy,
Oh, go on, let's see it.
Let's have a look.
If I reduce the energy,
you have to buy the silver hexafluoride. So you've
seen the
Going to be liquid.
And you've seen the sulfur hexafluoride one anyway. So again, we're going over shit that we've already gone over with you fucking thousands of times.
The temperature change would make it into a liquid.
Same temperature as the rest of the room, dumbass.
No, it's not. Once it leaves, it's going to be have room temperature.
It's sitting in a fish tank. It's room temperature. You're right.
Yeah. Obviously, it will go warm.
Obviously, it must be much hotter or much colder because it's in a fish tank.
Look, just show your demonstration.
You've seen it loads of times, Chemo. It's the one where the guy puts the tinfoil thing into the fish tank and it floats, and then he starts scooping the sulfur hexafluoride out and putting it into the sort of tinfoil
that's in a
bowl that he's
container.
made.
I said do it
And then
without the
it
container.
sinks, and it's a completely open container. And as you stated, gas molecules move freely about everywhere, yet they don't. So there seems to be some issue with the gas that they're using that seems to have a downward force applied to it, which is why it's staying in the fish tank and not zooming about everywhere, like you said no more than 10 minutes ago.
So I say walls of a container. I say show me without the container. You show me a wall of a container.
Yeah, I know, but dude, me and Babs, Flat Earther Kid Babs.
Are you using Veach's mic?
Babs. Huh?
Are you using Veach's mic? Together?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Kimo. Kimo. I have a question, Kimo.
Yes.
Well, either way, like, me and Babs were doing we were making an observation. Right, we literally had a scale and poured gas onto the scale without any walls to the container, and we got a reading on the container. So, case closed.
Kimo, I have a question.
Okay.
Do you agree that ozone is a layer of gas that is at the upper levels of our atmosphere?
I think the ozone is the where we can't go further than. So some call it the Van Allen firmament. I think that zone is the zone.
Actually, nobody calls it that.
I think the zone is that zone. We can't go any further. But we don't know what it is. If it's just gas, we don't know what it is. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's gassing, right? That layer. And remember, it's a layer. So it's a layer of something. Yeah.
Well, the ozone has a chemical makeup of O3. So how are we down here breathing O2 if up there is O3?
No,
if you say
again,
that.
We're guessing what it is. Have you been up there?
No, but it's been tested.
By who?
Oh my god.
Oh your god. Well, that's the point, because again, it's just a story.
Felix Baumgartner.
Somebody somewhere has done it. Not really good enough,
No,
right?
dude. Did I ever tell you that David Blaine, that my ex, she blew? Did I tell you
Kosho,
that?
your mic is really bad, man.
About 50 times, Kosho.
Yeah, I heard your ex blew David
Yeah, my
Blaine.
ex, she blew David Blaine. David Blaine's been up there, dude.
Why are you saying that story again?
Because Kimo says no one's been up there.
What I'm trying to say is
the ozone layer.
What I'm trying to say is Kimo says that the cause of things falling down is due to buoyancy or density or whatever he was saying. But if that's the case, then why are we breathing O2 here when there's O3 above us in the ozone? That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, again, we don't really know what's above us. We just know that.
But we do because it's tested.
Well, show us the test. There's a lot. Can't. So again, we have to leave that for another day until we have the actual evidence. Right?
I told you, David Blaine's been up there.
We can only go by what we know today, right now, in the real world, in real time. And in the real world, real time, right now, don't know what's up there.
Yeah, show us the test that determines our atmosphere from your vacuum. Show us that test.
Yeah.
That exact location, please.
Exactly. Where there's a vacuum and then gas.
Kimo,
It's a continuous transition. There is no exact location.
Yeah, there should
Kimo
be
knows
a
that.
line, a Kármán cutoff point, a line when there is space and
Well, there's a line where we formally declare it space, but there's a continuous decrease in atmosphere.
Kimo, you're aware there's two lines, right?
Two lines,
The
right?
international community says one line and the United States says another one, right? There's 20 kilometers difference. You are aware of that, people, right?
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Kimo,
Yeah,
Kimo,
check it out, Kimo. Check it out, yeah.
You're going to battle with 100 Glovers. It's just you by yourself. You pick one partner.
Yep.
Do you pick percentage or do you pick SE?
I give split the time. Split the time. Difficult to
Unclear on
choose.
what you get one partner means.
Do you know what the pressure is at each of those lines, SE?
I'm not sure, but one, I believe the Americans say it's at 80 kilometers, and the Europeans and the rest of the world say it's at 100 kilometers. I'm surprised you guys were not aware of that. Two lines?
I didn't ask how far it was. I said, do you know what the pressure is at each of those lines?
Oh, I do not.
Do the math. So I get
Jesse, why in the world would we be aware of a non-American line? The only one that matters is the one the Americans use.
But you're a smart dude. You're a son of an astronaut. You're all aware. You're
Yeah.
all knowing. You guys
And
know
you're
all
not.
your model,
Yeah,
but you
the
didn't know this
European one
simple
is
thing.
not relevant, Jesse. Hardly of interest.
You guys didn't know this simple thing? Two lines?
Yeah,
Two Karman
it's an
lines?
American
I'm
line is what matters.
surprised.
You need to focus on the American line.
Yeah, but I find that
Obviously.
surprising. That's all I'm saying. I find that really, really surprising.
I'm telling you the reason it's not the American one.
You guys talk about this stuff all day long, and you didn't know there was two Karman lines. I mean,
You're
that's
so weird. There's
perplexing
not
to
two
me.
common lines. Only one common line. There's only one common line. The other one's got to be called something different.
You see, you're wrong
And by
about
the way,
that,
I
bro.
think we've already
There's
been
two
over
of
this.
them.
Where
There's two of them. They're in
we've already
dispute,
been
bro.
over what you do, where you go find some random factoid, and then you come in, and then because this random factoid you pre-found, because people don't know it, which of course they don't know some of them. If you had any idea how trivial and goofy and transparent that is, you would stop doing it. If you want,
Oh,
I'll do it for
really?
you.
Okay.
You
Thanks
can
for
see
the
how-
advice there, expert.
But your idea that we somehow have encyclopedic memory / knowledge of every single topic and subtopic related to these areas is just so absurd.
But I find it hard to believe. We discuss these topics every day: space, containers, this and that, and you don't know that there's two Karman lines.
Why would we?
I
Need
just
to know
find that
the
funny. That's
Europeans-
all.
Why would we need to know the Europeans have some separate line that I could call?
Not the
I'm not even
Europeans,
sure
the
it's true, to be
whole
honest with you.
world.
I'm not even sure that it's entirely true, to be honest with you.
Well, check it out.
I mean, basically, what you're saying, Veach, is
Why would they both call it the same name?
you're saying, Veach,
It's definitely not called the common line.
you're saying that you can contain gas with gravity. So how would you do that?
Yeah, of course.
How?
I mean, gravity does it naturally. That's how gravity is a force.
Chemo.
It pulls. That
So
pulls
are
on
you saying
molecules
we can
and
create
keeps
a
them from
vacuum,
escaping.
take gravity, put gas inside that area, and contain it with gravity?
Gravity is something that manifests from between objects based on their mass and their distance.
Chemo, gases have mass. Everything that has mass pulls something else with mass due to the gravitational force. That's why the atmosphere is being attracted by Earth.
The atmosphere is attracted by Earth. Well, yeah, I mean, I could accept that if that's the hypothesis, yeah, that there's a force pulling the atmosphere down to the Earth, yeah? Is it Snowflake? Still here? Snowflake?
What Flat Earth is asking for is how. HOW.
Well, we've got a how.
Very
I think
cold,
it's.
yeah.
I think if Snowflake is willing to explain or just say mass.
How do you spell how?
Say mass. The atmosphere has mass. The Earth has mass. What's he saying? There's an attraction here.
Yep.
It's regular Isaac Newton over here.
But Timo, they don't understand that one is an instantaneous force and one is relative. They don't understand that.
Well, let's go with Newtonian for now. They want Newtonian, but does Snowflake think this? Like, you have all this mass of the atmosphere and then the mass of the Earth, and they're attracted to one another. Or he didn't mean to say that. I'm awfully shy.
They pick and choose.
No, that's
pick
correct.
and choose.
What he said is right.
But that's Einstein.
No, that's
No,
Newtonian.
Newton.
Newtonian.
Yeah, mass
There's just
attracting
gravity.
mass. Yeah.
Mass attracting mass.
Yeah, that's the
I mean,
Cavendish.
it's just gravity.
Yeah, that's Newton's baby. The one he said, "Don't ascribe it to me." Yeah, that one.
You didn't really say don't ascribe it to
So
me.
why are we talking about Einstein?
Einstein
and
comes
Newton?
after. After.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Why are we talking about Newton?
Because we're going back.
Because Einstein's just a different way to look at the same thing.
We're going back to the
the way we're
caveman
talking
days.
about gravity, what we're using gravity for, we can use the Newtonian principle, the paradigm of Newton.
Because, Mill, we're going back to the caveman days to figure these things out, and then soon they'll move forward to Einstein. Yeah.
How many times do you guys have to hear that Einstein subsumed Newton? You can derive Newton's equations from the field equations of Einstein. They're the same thing.
That's not your current science.
You can derive Newton's equations from the field equations of relativity. Same thing.
Nope.
You can. I mean, that's just a mathematical fact.
Well, the only reason I said it is because SC the other day showed some ancient technology, and it was sort of like, oh, we've got GPS now, so it was sort of batted away. So it's weird that when we get to gravity, we refer to this sort of outdated modality.
It's not outdated. It's, again, they are the same thing. You can derive everything Newton said derives out of Einstein. He just added on to it and talked about it in a different way, but he did not fundamentally change it.
Yeah, of course he did.
No, he didn't.
He changed
all of Einstein is derivable from. All of Newton is derivable from Einstein.
He fundamentally.
That literally tells you they don't contradict. They're the same thing.
He fundamentally
negative. One is in fantasy land.
Gone.
Well, they're both in fantasy land, but what?
Well, yeah, they both actually are, but one is in real out there. The one that says you can take time and mesh it with the fabric and make space time. That's
a very strong argument you have there.
The new normal's got it. Mass attracting gas.
Mass attracting gas.
Good one.
That's a good one.
Hey, SE, did you know that there are about 7 different definitions of where space begins?
Modern day time traveling machine.
Well, even worse than my two. Wow, you did some research.
Did you know though that the Air Force had one, and that Jonathan McDowell wrote a book that had a different one, and the FAI has its own different one? Did you know that?
Wow, no, I didn't know that, bro.
You didn't know that?
Thanks for the info. No, I thought there was only 2 magic.
You came in here
But
crowing
thanks
about
for
all
telling
the
me there's
stuff you
more
did,
now. Wow.
and you
Right,
didn't
hold
even
on.
know it.
All right, let me ask a question. All right, question.
Oh my god, you didn't know it?
I find that odd.
Right, this is for you, Moyek. Let me ask the question.
You went and researched this? You couldn't even find that?
Come on, can you stop
You're right,
planning
this
around?
God. It is odd. I wasn't
Very
searching
strange that
that
you didn't
far
find
into
that
your
stuff.
fantasy, but those 2 were enough for me.
Very
But thank
strange.
you for making your fantasy even worse.
Come on.
Did you say
you
7,
talk about this
Scott?
stuff all the time. You read about it.
Did you say 7, Scott?
Oh my gosh! Right,
Guys, Emo is trying to
you're
get
gonna
on
like
Moya.
this. You're gonna like this one.
Why didn't you know
Hopefully,
that, Esty?
you're gonna like this one. So this is from Moyek.
What?
I want Moyek to answer it first, but anyone can answer this. But so Moyek, you've heard of when they have the mountain, they have the pendulum, and the pendulum.
Schahelian.
What?
Schahelian.
Where the thing goes closer to the mountain. Yes.
Right, Schahelian.
I don't know what it's called, but whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. Now.
Schahelian.
Now. So that should mean, Moyek. That should mean there should be a gradient of the gases along the side of the mountain.
Yes. Yes, there should be.
Right. So show.
Now let's talk about the.
Right. So you've got a hold on.
And then decide whether you can measure.
Hold on. You've got a vertical gradient, slightly, and a horizontal one. Let's go.
Okay, what about it?
You would have to get at a given altitude with sufficient sufficient resolution. You would have to go and measure an elevation at the side of the mountain and one some distance from the mountain. You probably should see a pressure difference.
Moy, how are you going to show it?
However, being that this is such an exceedingly small metric, I don't think that it'd be practical to measure.
What do you mean a small metric? So listen, Moy, listen up again. It's clear. So the thing is hanging away from the mountain, the pendulum, right?
Yep.
So listen, between the pendulum and the mountain, there's a pull. So there should be that much gas gradient between the pendulum and the mountain.
Yes.
Yes.
It should go towards the mountain.
Yes, and that would be expected to be in the trillionths of a PSI.
No, listen. However far you hang the pendulum away from the mountain, and you're saying I can get an attraction between that distance, there should be a gradient. There should be a pull of all that atmosphere pulling along the side of the water.
In the trillionths of a PSI.
Right, how are you going to demonstrate
that,
this?
I'll give you a cookie.
How are you going to demonstrate this?
In the trillionths of a PSI, I'm not going to.
Well, exactly. That's the point.
Because one wouldn't expect it to be strong enough to be measured easily.
Anyway, sorry, Essie, you can go back to that. But that was the point, is how can they show
how about you address that?
gradient?
Since it only moves that pendulum a fraction of a degree, how would you expect this gradient to be measured? I mean, would I measure it with a piezo load sensor? How do I get a piezo load sensor to measure down to a level that one would expect to see the difference?
No, that was just it, anyway, just a simple question.
Well, I know that was just the stupid thing you decided.
You know it's
to answer.
nonsense.
I'm asking you a question.
You
now.
know it's nonsense.
Could you fucking give me an answer? How I'm supposed to measure?
I'm saying, you know
pico,
it's nonsense.
Pico PSI or Pico Torr.
I'm just saying, to see a gradient.
What instrument did they use to measure where the Kármán line separates the vacuum of space?
Well, it's not. You know
gas? What instrument did they use for that?
It's not really so much an instrument as they decided. The Kármán line is a place where they arbitrarily set, where they say
right,
flight can no longer.
I just told you 2 of them now.
Yes,
now, thanks to Scott's
that's the beautiful thing about.
We know there's 7. Hold on. We know there's 7 now. Which one is correct?
That's because they each have their. No, stop yelling! Stop yelling! You have to look at each one of those 7 and find out why they set them there, because they're arbitrary
They're all
points.
definitional, though.
They're definitional.
So you just proved your fantasy.
No,
Scott.
what's
you
the
just
definition?
Proved your fantasy more wrong than I did before.
No,
Thank you, Scott.
what's the definition?
Well, I don't know why in the world do you think that. That's a silly thing to think.
I'm going to call today. Okay.
Some people just decided, in the same way they decided where the boundary of a country should be, they decided, hey, here's where the boundary should be, and different people had different ideas for it.
So they just decided.
you live in
They didn't
Canada,
measure
right?
it. They didn't
Yes,
see,
that's what
hey,
we just
look,
told you. It's
here is the
definitional. Do you didn't know what definitional means?
We have a vacuum here, and here we have gas. No, let's guess. Let's take 7 guesses and make them all correct.
SE, stop for a second, please.
They're arbitrarily. It's like you don't guess at the division of a country. You choose it. It's definitional. You decide it.
Okay, could you tell me, SE, what is a cold day? What is the really cold day? Frigid
Are you
day
guys
for
listening to yourselves, man? Do you listen?
Well, I'm
before
asking you a
talk?
question, SE. What is a hot day for you? Tell me what the definition of a hot day is.
You're kidding me, right?
No, I'm asking you, what is a hot day?
Okay, I'll play your game. 90 degrees.
90 degrees? No, I think 115 is hot.
So that's how we guess the separation of our atmosphere with the vacuum.
No, we
of space?
both are using metric.
It's not about
Man,
separation
keep
of
talking,
atmosphere,
bro.
though.
Keep
Remember,
talking.
the
You're making
atmosphere
my
is
point for me.
continuous. The atmosphere is continuous, I see. So the Kármán line has nothing to do with that. The Kármán line is about more political things. Like, for example, the reason we have a Kármán line is so we can know who all has been in space. So we have a list of people that went to space. Well, we define that as people that got above the Kármán line. Stuff like that. It's like not really. It's not really a scientific line as much as it is a political line.
Are you listening to what you guys are saying? Seriously,
I'm explaining
saying
to you
it's a
what the Kármán
political.
line
What
is.
everybody's saying. What do you not understand?